My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary, live from Dolton, Illinois.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary, live from Dolton, Illinois.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois.
Wait, one of my favorite movies is Selena, and it's so funny because why did my niece, or one of my my step nieces, I have to be carried. Just so y'all know, we don't say step in my family or anything like that. We're family. We don't do step, this, that. We're family, right? So I have one of my nieces, and she started doing the dang on washing machine like they did on Selena to this song that Critical did. Remember the Selena movie when Selena was a little baby and learning how to dance? And her mom was like, "Do the washing machine, turn to the washing machine." That's what they were doing in this song. And it was so funny.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary live from Dolton, Illinois.
Commentary Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Comment Blue Commentary Burgundy Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Commentary.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hold on. So let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all what's going on. Let me put I got 2 pair of glasses. I had to get y'all. I told you guys I need bifocals. The age is catching up with me. I can't read. I have to take my glasses off to read. Does that mean I need bifocals? You know, is anyone going through this at a particular age? Because I could see and I could not see. What's that mean? I'm nearsighted. But now I cannot read. So I need the little bifocals, I think. And it was so funny because I went to the eye doctor, and as thick as my prescription is, I was like, yeah, thin it out. That costs $2.8 million. So then you thin out your prescription, and it's I'm still looking like Red Fox on Harlem Nights, sitting there with these goggle glasses. But now I gotta add on bifocals. Isn't that something? So let's say hey to everybody here tonight. Welcome to Burgundy Blue Commentary, where we talk about what we want to talk about when we want to talk about it. It's simple as that. It's nothing. I'm not running for mayor. Like people think. I'm not running for mayor. I stumbled across talking about Dolton. If you're here to talk about Dolton, you know I stumbled across talking for Dolton because I live here. And I was scared, but we had a lot of things going on. And I said, you know what? I already have a YouTube channel. I already have people interested in the subject. Why not tell people how it is from a Dolton perspective? Someone who's been there, grade school, middle school, high school, even some college at South Suburban, Southland. I've been here. Someone that worked here. I've been here. So I hope you take my words as not a way to bash anybody or anything, but as a way to give you an insight on how it is living in Dolton and to give you some history so that you know that things are not now this is my opinion. Things are not turned bad just under Tiffany Henyard. I also want to clarify some things for people who may not critically think for themselves. Tiffany Henyard does not know me. She is not paying for me. Me and Tiffany Henyard live in the same town, so she may know me in passing. And I will be 100% transparent with you guys and let you know I saw Tiffany Henyard as someone that was a trustee that really put the work in for her community. She will be out in her community. I can't take that back because that's what I saw. Now, when you get into, it's so many things we're going to talk about. Like maybe I saw it more because I was on a side of town that got a little more love than the other side of town. This is how I'm feeling. But I'm also in the same aspects. Y'all are watching everything that goes on your TV and on YouTube. It's events. People live here and nothing's being done for the pimp people. One side, if Tiffany does something, it's like, why is she doing that? We ain't got no money. Well, it's being done and the money being spent. Send your kids out there, and that's my opinion. Send kids out there and get all the money and come on back home. Like, get all the Easter baskets and come on back home. Why are we not acknowledging that Dolton didn't have anything for the community for years? And I'm saying this amongst a beloved mayor. I loved Mayor Shaw, good mayor for me, because I was given a chance under his reign. You know what I mean? And I was able to take what I learned there and go off for great things. The same thing that I think a lot of people will be able to do under this administration as well. But I want to be clear and let you guys know, when you go into these politic groups and stuff, y'all gonna have to do more than that during election time. A lot of people that critically think for themselves, that really can put two and two together, they're not falling for the okey doke. They're not falling for the, oh, because they're not bashing the mayor, the mayor's paying them. People that know politics are not falling for that at all. That's what you can do with people that maybe just want to be mad anyway. But you can't do that with everyone. So it's going to have to be something else happening. America. Past America. All the people looking on. When you see something that I'm doing, know it's just to give you the history. I'm not pro or against any candidate. And I want to be clear. I'm not pushing any candidate. Do you know why I'm not pushing anyone? Because I lived under an area where everyone referred you on who to vote for, mayor after mayor. No one really looked into the literacy of voting or looking into what a candidate really has to offer. We're going to go tonight through some old news clips. And I didn't organize anything. We're clear. Anybody listening, put a 1. We're just going over news clips. I did not specify what I was going to go over before, because we're going to do a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3. We're also going to go over campaign promises. I think that's important. We hear someone promise something and then they change it. Like, I remember hearing someone say, I'm here for the people, then tell me at the same time, oh, I'm only here for bills. Well, you told me to vote for you because you was here for the people. Now you only here for bills. Okay, let me figure this out for myself. Y'all have to listen to everyone's side. I don't think anyone not in Dolton or in the Southland, I don't mean Dolton, but the Southland, should be telling us who to vote for. Because you don't even know their plan. It's just the campaign is vote for me, I'm better than Tiffany. That's the campaign for everybody. Vote for me, I can't do worse than Tiffany. As much as y'all want to bash me and say whatever, you can't help but say, I love my community. Because no matter what we decide, it's 4 more years of what? 4 more years of promise or 4 more years of excuses. That's all we got ahead of us. 4 years of promises or 4 years of, that was the previous administration. Just want to bring that out. I am not paid for by Tiffany, And I also am not here to tell you not to vote for someone or to vote somebody for somebody. It's just to give you, you're on this channel, it's just to give you a little insight on what used to happen, what was happening, what is happening, what could be happening. That's all. That's all I want to do. I hope y'all allow me to do that. I just hope you allow me to do that. That's all I want to do. All right, let's give you a balance on what's going on. Let's say hello to everybody. Ted F, what's up? Holly, hello, Holly. Brian, Holly, Jazzy, what's up? Critical Smoker, love you, boo. Gardis Watts, hey, Gardis. Be knowing, Jazzy Steph, what's up, my Jazzy? Jazzy, do you play piano? I see that, and I just always want to know. Oh, Gardis told me about, he said, I made the switch 4 years ago to trifocal and wear glasses all the time. Gardis, I probably wasn't looking at your glasses like that. Do they have the line in it? Because your girl's still out here dating. I don't need bifocal lines, okay? Your girl's still out here. I got to trick them a little bit. Like, I don't need bifocals yet, but I guess I do. I hope everyone is having a great evening and a fantastic Thursday. I hope the same for you too, Critical. Chavis, we love you and your wife, your beautiful wife. Tell her hello. Me and her gotta have a chit chat. Gotta have like girl talk. I really love y'all commitment to one another. I hope to have that one day. Oh my God. Jazzy put my merch in the chat. I did like 3 t-shirts. Thank you, Jazzy. Well, 4. I did a coffee cup, sweatshirt, t-shirt. And that's in the chat if you're interested. You don't have to get it today. It was requested, so I put it out there, and I thank y'all so much. All right, let's go. So Gardis got that good insurance. They ain't got no lines in it. I need that. Because the ones they brought me had the little line at the bottom. Oh my goodness. We're unbiased and undeterred. That's what we're doing. I don't understand why we can't just, even when, I'm going to be honest, if I see you and you had something to say about me, I would love to know why you feel the way you feel about me. Feel free to email me at burgundybluecommentary@gmail.com. It's an open forum. I feel like if you have something to say and think I'm a liar, tell me why you think I'm a liar. And then let's talk about it. If you saw video evidence of me being talked about in a certain situation, then you saw me standing up and you still like, I'm a liar, and I'm being, show me proof. Show me the check stub, Zelle, Cash App, whatever that Tiffany Henry gave me for you to believe that. Or is it just rumors? Are you just being consumed by rumors? I would like to know. And it's okay. We're on YouTube, and I think that most of the situation that's going on in Dolton, it needs more focus on the situation going on in Dolton. I feel like nothing has been accomplished. A lot of people are just waiting out days, hoping that it will clear. Oh, this happened, I could take credit. This happened, I could take credit. But it's been a lot of people fighting this fight for years. For years. And they get no kind of acknowledgement. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to wait. And as soon as the arrest happened, I did it. It wasn't them. It was me. Y'all got to wake up. There we go. What's up, J Rod? All right, let's get to some cool stuff. Let's start with campaign. Hold on, y'all. Like, it's so funny. Let's go into some campaigning. Let's do a promise. Then let's go into Riley history. We're gonna be all over the place. It's no rhyme or reason for anything. We're just having fun tonight, and we're going over some Dolton history. Okay. And we just gotta know, like, how did it? Okay. And this is where it's gonna land. Just so y'all know, so it's not a surprise. It's going to land when I finish this 3-part situation live. It's going to land how many of the same people told us to vote for Tiffany? How many of the same people told us to vote for Riley? How many of the same people you see today was hanging around when Shaw was here? We're going to break down that. We want those 3 questions answered. How many of y'all was at the golf outing with Mayor Shaw? Hold on, guys. Sorry. Got to turn off my steamer. I want to know how many photos I got of the people that we see today at the Shaw golf outing, raising money for Shaw. How many of the people you see in the boardroom today were back in Riley Rogers? How many of the same people you say asking for change told us to vote for Tiffany? And will we see these same faces telling us to vote for the next mayor too? What is the difference? What is the difference? This is what we're going to discuss. It's not to hate on nobody. This is history. This is history. I repeat. I went to the vault, y'all. I had to look at some history, some photos, some obituaries, some people that weren't here, some businesses that were closed. And I had to look and say, man, were these people around when I was at the El Dorado? Got a picture. Were these people around when we was counting ballots against Shaw and Rogers? Were they in the same room? Got pictures over at the old steakhouse. These people knew Mr. Lockhart and came and supported his business too. I mean, not his business. His graduate, whatever he had with his lady and graduate, gotta take a picture. These people was with Mr. Lindsay. Gotta take a picture. Got it. We gotta go through the history of, are these the same people? Not saying it is true or false. I'll let y'all decide. That was here at the Shaw administration, through the Lewis, through the Riley, through the Hilliard. And now we got a new administration in this same, allegedly. Is it possible? I'm going to let y'all decide that based on the photos, the same group are telling us who to vote for now. I think nothing's wrong with that. I want to be clear. I think nothing's wrong with that. You might have got on with one team and voted for one team and saw that something wasn't wrong, right? And then you jump to the next team. I'm not saying nothing's wrong. I'm saying where do the ignorance of what's going on in Dolton politics stop? When does we're just listening? We're just listening to who people tell us to vote for stop? When do we stop that? When do we ask, hey, what is your plan? And you just not tell us in a 30-minute snippet. I think now is the time to ask. Anybody running? I think it needs to be asked. And it may need to be a debate. Because now we're falling in line with the same people telling us who to vote for. Do anyone agree or am I wrong? Gardis says, I said it before, 3 years of work will either be destroyed or stolen from a certain outsider. Yeah. Those people, no matter what those people that work for Dolton think of me now, it was a lot of them. Hey, it's a misunderstanding. Let's talk. We don't need to communicate like this. And one person shut them down from communicating. And that's fine, because I will stand alone if I have to stand for what's right. Put how many people you vouched for in the election on the Jumbotron. How many people did you say vote for them and endorse them and gave them money in past elections, put it on, and they won, put it on the Jumbotron? I think now it's time for us who are confused about who to vote for, who to side with, what's going on in our government to ask questions. And that literacy is promoted around politics of Dolton, because now we're just saying the campaign is I'm better than Tiffany. Hey DC, what's up? Uh Chavis, Gardis, stop it. Don't start talking about that. It's the same thing. We're just gonna fall in line. Oh, vote for this person because they're not gonna do. We're not putting no ordinances into place. We're not giving new direction. We're not writing nothing down. We're just sitting up there doing what? The next people can do it too. And y'all can say it was no problems when you. It's so funny. It was no problems with YouTubers when the huge YouTubers were making 100, 200,000 views. The fact you see somebody that's making 500 views, stop the YouTubers. They're, I'm like, are y'all? It's all because it's one narrative. It's gonna get old, y'all. And people are starting to see, and I hate to bring this brother up, but a young man with almost 1 million subscribers off I'm gonna say AD. He did it again. He hit them with it again. I hope you get what you deserve. I hope your food pantries run dry. I hope he hit all that. And guess who got 48? And this is off subject. Guess who got a 48-hour notice? A young lady, UP, without 1,000, just barely 1,000 subscribers, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to disrespect her, but I know she has rebuilt. I haven't got through all her content, but I get word she got a 48-hour notice. It's a grown man. A shout out to him, like no disrespect. He out here saying that one of our trustees need Ozempic. Y'all ain't said a word. He said one of our trustees need Ozempic. I don't agree with that. The man said it. Got 30, 40,000 views. Y'all ain't open your mouth. Who you mad at? Who are you really mad at? Who y'all really mad at? Where's the outrage? Y'all went and said you're going to dox this young lady's life because she reviewed a video by Random News. This man said our trustee needs to stop smoking Newports. He see it in her neck. Okay. All right. But y'all mad though. Y'all mad. Y'all want the best for Dolton. No, Dolton. Fight for Dolton. Dolton is where it's at. Y'all mad though, right? But y'all skirted right past this YouTuber who is successful. Getting up at 6 a.m. saying Dolton deserve what they get. Y'all ain't said nothing. Cowards. That's it. And I would never say that. Cowards. Now I know where everything stands. I know exactly. Meanwhile, he has a platform where he brought the trustees and even Jason House. You rarely see Jason House in the interview. He brought them on. He said the lady looked pregnant from the top and the bottom, from the front and the back. Down politics. Nothing. This huge cyber team, nothing. He said this person y'all saying we should protect needs this and that. Y'all said nothing. Okay. All right. All right. What's up, Choose? Wait a minute. Shaver said, I'll say the name. He put heat on them. They said nothing. They moved over to a young lady reviewing a video. Oh, that's it. We gotta dox her. What did she didn't give no opinion. She reviewing the video. Someone gave an opinion. We know why. Now we know why. Okay, let's get to this content. They ain't say nothing. Hey, Ted, they ain't say nothing. I was sitting over here like, oh, he. I thought he wasn't gonna bring it up again. He said, Dalton, you get what you deserve. Mr. Lee was on live talking. And he said, I hope someone come and help us. He said, nope. And we're not even gonna talk about what he did. And this is no disrespect to this young man. I'm just covering his content. It was a certain person that released a video through the news, and then they said they had a charity they want to bring up. He was like, no, that's when I ended. He was like, no. He was like, no, absolutely not. So that's where we are with that. That's where we are with that. Y'all ain't have nothing to say. None of the outrage. Nobody calling him a liar. Nobody reviewing the video. No notices. Okay. All right. Who was the trustee that said before no one's coming to save us? Selective outrage. They just sitting there like nobody's asking Andrew Holmes to step down, and everybody's like, yeah, Dalton needs help. Dalton can start with help with the trustees taking that same microphone and telling Andrew Holmes to step down. But it's politics on why they won't. They tell Andrew Holmes to step down. You know what happens. And that's the part where I step out. Because if you didn't know what happens, that means that seat is open. And who appoints that seat? I'm not privy to politics. I just want what's right for Dalton. That's it. That's all. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just on the side of right. Like, y'all, you can't be saying this and doing that. You can't be doing this and doing that. This don't make no sense. The only thing y'all bring into our town is walks. And for us to donate to your charities. What are you doing for the town? I have to look at all sides. It's fine to have walks for this and that and that and this and have the community donate. But what are you giving back to the community wholeheartedly for yourself? Because when you do these walks, you do a solo dolo. But when you're doing a give back, you do a collaborative effort. It's always a give back with this group and this group, this group and this group, and this group and this group. It's never just the trustees do a give back by themselves. What are you doing? That's my question. Because my whole thing is when this new person gets in, what's the procedure? If Tiffany gets arrested at 3 a.m. this morning, what's our first order of business? Am I wrong for asking that? If Tiffany get arrested at 3 a.m. on Friday morning tomorrow, July 12th, what's the first order of business for everybody? Who's going to be in charge of housing? Because we know William Moore gone. Who's going to be the new police chief? We know Lacey gone. What's our first order of business as a community? Who's going to sit in Andrew Holmes' seat? Because we know Andrew Holmes is gone as soon as Tiffany's arrested. What's the first order of business? Am I wrong for asking those questions? Why is no one else asking these questions? Hey, Big Mike. They will appoint Jay. We know that. And you know what? Just for giggles, I'm only 3 people can call in. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to hinder this. It's a link here in the StreamYard. The link is specifically for Big Mike, Gardis, and Choose. I don't mean to put anybody else on the back burner just because we have to get our way back into this. If you guys feel comfortable and you want to say something, there's the link. Not put just those three people for now. I hope y'all understand. Yeah, he will be appointed. He will be appointed, but that's why they're not, in my opinion, Big Mike. That's why they're not asking Andrew to step down now, because Tiffany will find the appointment, right? So they have to wait. They have to wait for the proper time for Ed Steve to be appointed. And let's talk about something. Let's go into it. I have a couple of let's do these videos. Let's do some histories. Get a real finance person. Yeah. Yeah, I think she worked for Public Works, Big Mike. I don't know. All right, let's go. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see if I can get this. Hit the like button. Also, all the ways to support your girl are in the comments below. Let me see if I can get some of this history. Yeah, I got some over here. See if I can get it. Thank you for being patient. Do y'all want to start with? Let's start with Tiffany for mayor. I feel like people don't see this enough. Now, I want to let you guys know I'm not going in order on this. We're here to talk about it. Thank you for putting Cara Wilson fundraiser in there too, Chavis. Thank you. I appreciate all the work y'all doing. I didn't see that, Cynthia. I didn't see that, but thank you for that. Let's go to this wonderful YouTube page that might be gone. It only has 7 subscribers. I thought this was I'm gonna do everything guerrilla style for you guys. I think it's important that we all learn from this experience. I want to be clear. That don't mean any of the ladies heckling me were evil. That means they were sitting here fighting for what they believe in as much as I'm fighting for what I believe in. Okay. That's why I want to be clear with that. But I think that we should be more knowledgeable of who we're putting our trust in going forward. And I want to be clear again and say that does not mean I'm anti or pro anyone. I don't know why we cannot be educated. We can't be educated on where we're voting for in the future. That's my entire spiel. Okay, so let's look at Tiffany Henyard, and this was her YouTube page. Now, we know that Big Mike, if you're still in here, thousands of dollars go into a campaign. I just want to put out, she has 7 subscribers on this channel. It's Tiffany for mayor. And look at the views, 42 views, 26 views, 62 views. So just think about whoever the camera person was or the campaign person was, how much they made just making this channel alone. And it not even that's why y'all only see 800 people coming to vote. Like, it didn't even get that much traction. So let's go to, I want to go for all of the things that Tiffany said she would do for us as mayor. I think this is one. Let's see. Is this one? It might be one. Let's try it. Let's try it as a team. Hit the like.
Hi, I am Tiffany Henyard, and I am running for mayor of Dolton. Early voting has started, and I urge you to vote early. Punch 2 for Tiffany Henyard for mayor. Punch 5 for Allison Key for clerk. Punch 11 for Kiana Belcher. Punch 12 for Kevin Bowens. Punch 13 for Jason House. All for trustee. Your vote is your voice. Help us bring change to Dolton. Punch 2.
I want to just be 100% real, since people done doxed me already. From a marketing standpoint, The only person that lost was Kevin Bowens, and it was because of his photo. He seemed like, we're going to go over his background and his history, is because of his photo. Y'all let this man, and I'm not hating on him. Y'all let this man, people are just looking and judging him just based on his look. He's a I don't know him personally, but I think he was at work for Cook County. He got 2 degrees, but y'all got him out here just looking like, and I don't mean this as just making him look dishonest. For a PR or marketing standpoint, he need haircut on point. Haircut, he kept his wave cap on all night. Y'all sat up there and had this man look dishonest right here in this photo. Suit right, everything right. Y'all need to give him a better photo. That's how he lost. He was the only one out the dream team that lost. The only one. What do y'all think about that? Are you serious? Big Mike, give me the link. Kevin Bowens was in the Tyrant Terminator video when he visited. He works for the sheriff. Yeah. Big Mike, I ain't gonna open the can of worms that made me think about. I'm gonna leave it there. We'll email. Typically, when running a campaign, you have to pay up front. I ran so many campaigns to know that. I'm sure. Kevin Bowens is the best example to my example earlier. For local offices, endorsements don't matter. He had the U.S. Attorney Office endorsing him. Very much true. He had the best, Big Mike, he had the best endorsement out the group. He really had the best endorsement out the group. But he's the one that didn't win. His resume was good. It all comes to, now this is where my level of expertise, it comes into what I'm hired to do. Dress people for the occasion. That was his only crime, I believe. His only crime is how they had him lined up and how they had him looking. That's it. That was the only crime. So whoever was in charge of this campaign failed Kevin. I don't know him, but they failed him. Big Mike says, the issue is that the residents are picking the lesser of two evils. Not a single person is the best option. I believe that we're just picking whoever tell us to pick. Okay, let me go back to it because I want to find the one where she made promises. Let's find all the promises of the people. Let's find, now this was just 3 years ago. Let's find some of the, hit the like button. We're not nitpicking. We want to go through the promises of people. Sorry guys, but I got the hiccups. I had my San Pellegrino. Oh, today I had the Lyman San Pellegrino. That's what I'm having today. It's so good. They got a lime and an orange one I'm gonna try. I just want to look at, like Big Mike was saying, how Tiffany was not ready to be mayor. End of story, case closed. But she was at the end of her second term. Big Mike, we got to talk about that second term limit, because who's at the end of his second term right now? That is the hysteria of pushing a mayor in Dolton. The 2-term limit that Riley set in place. Now it's, you got to be mayor. Jason House can't be trustee again. He got to be mayor. Nothing wrong with it. He got his qualifications, but he couldn't be trustee if he wanted to. It's over. I actually think he'd be a great administrator of the village. Actually, no shade. I would vote, like if someone brought Jason House to be the village administrator, I think that would be a good, because of his history. I can't hate on that. Mayor, I just haven't seen enough. All right, let's go. Let's see if this is Tiffany telling us how she's gonna do us. Now, y'all, I did not notice this until now. When I was doing the videos, is this propaganda to have Tiffany on one side and Kamala Harris on the other side? Can y'all let me know in the comments? Is that propaganda? Because I would have just looked at this and been like, oh, Kamala endorsed her, right? So what is this? Let's read it. This is the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech up top. At the board, at the bottom, it says the dream continues. Kamala Harris, a strong and dynamic leader, America's first African American woman to serve as vice president of the United States, has broken historic barriers. Sorry, that's what I'm going through here in Dolton. Historic barriers. Tiffany Henyard, the Village of Dolton's senior trustee, a successful entrepreneur, compassionate and strong, is a leader inspired by Vice President Harris's historical achievement. On February 23rd, vote for Democrat Tiffany Henyard and make another historic change by electing Dolton's first African American woman as mayor. History in the making. Dolton, the choice is clear. Ted, I'm laughing. That's legal because she's not saying that Kamala endorsed her. Okay, so but is it propaganda? Big Mike, you absolutely did break that research to me, and I believe several other YouTubers, and a lot of us did not take it in. I agree. Yeah, this is okay. So let's go to what Tiffany promising us. Let's listen. Okay, hold on. Let's pause. Oh, that was it. Okay, let's pause. Ooh. Because I want to know. Okay, let's look at some of these credentials. Let's look at it. If we're not going to take a lot of time, y'all already know. Oh, gosh, we 45 minutes in. I was trying not to.
Can I be recognized, Mayor?
You want to be long-winded? I'm just asking.
Okay. So, our mayor, Tiffany Henyard, mayor. Dolton resident for 32 years, senior Dolton trustees 2013 to the present, a bachelor's in business administration from Robert Morris University, graduated high honors, summa cum laude, president of Good Burger Inc. 2009 to the present. Okay. 2020 Woman of Distinction South Suburban News Award. That's the problem with the awards. I'm gonna be real. The awards in Southland, all the people, and this is nothing against Tiffany. Tiffany put her work in. There's nothing against anybody else. They put their work in. They just circleize and award each other over and over. Look at some of the awards. A lot of people just award each other over and over and over and over. Allison Key, Dolton resident for 31 years, one shy of Tiffany. Director, Resident Services and Community Outreach of Chicago Housing Authority, 30 years of service, Business Administration from Chicago State University, Certification, Project Management from Loyola. Go, Miss Key. Former president of Dolton Park Booster Club. Okay, Kiana Belcher. I really like this picture of Kiana Belcher. Those soft curls, the navy, the lip gloss. She looks so pretty. Dolton resident for 17 years. Chief Financial Officer of Quality Mindset LLC. I don't know if I would have put that in there. What does that mean? Do anyone know who Quality Mindset LLC is? Because that would be like you just putting on your thing, you're the CFO of Burgundy Blue Commentary. Not saying I got money like Quality Mindset. I'm just wondering the general public, what did they think about that? Former educator, Lincoln School of Lincoln on District 156. Master's in Political Science. Hey, Governor State University. A bachelor's in criminal justice, Governor State University. This is really interesting to hear because they were telling me that she was at Chicago State. So I think that's interesting. Former NAACP membership chair and VP of South Suburban Branch. Kiana Belcher, very much in this list. Even though they tried to switch her MA and BA and all of that stuff, I don't know. She's qualified. If we're going to make Tiffany qualified, she's just as qualified, if not more. Kevin Bowens, trustee. Dolton resident for 8 years. Investigator, Cook County Sheriff's Office. MPA, Public Safety Administration, Calumet College of St. Joseph. Never heard of it. Y'all let me know. BS, Public Safety Management, Calumet College of St. Joseph. Where is this college? Let me know. Is that in Indiana or here? And ordained minister. His photo got him messed up. I'm being real. Like, they did him dirty. Jason House, trustee, Dolton resident for 23 years. I find that funny. Jason House went to high school out here. Despite what we may think. Thank you, Ted. With the black beard. With the black beard. Jason House been out here as long as I've been out here, allegedly. Why he only a Dolton resident for 23 years? Maybe he left and came back and wanted to be clear. All right, y'all. Let me read this and I'm going to let Gardis Watts up. Dolton trustee, 2017, the president. Chair, finance committee. Oh, for Dolton, BS marketing. University of Illinois. Hey, Urbana-Champaign. Go, Jason. Board member, National Associations of Minority Contractors. Bank manager, we all knew that from U.S. Bank. He held that for a long time. Jason House is not that anyone saying he's not credible. We're just reading the accreditations here. So that was interesting. If I had to go off this list, who's the most qualified to be mayor? I hate to say it, but if I and I don't hate to say it, I'm just saying, if I had to read off this list and who was going to be the mayor, it would be number 11 for me. Which y'all tell me your number below. All right, let's let Gardis up. I'm bringing him up. Hey, Gardis, you live?
Hey, Berg, what's going on?
What?
Right.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for being brave enough.
Oh yeah, I got the target now.
Thanks for being brave enough to come up here. You know it's rough in these streets.
You're gonna get a 48-hour notice, 48 minute notice,
40-minute notice. Messing with me. 40 seconds.
No, but I mean, looking at that, I honestly, Kiana Belcher might be the most qualified. I mean, if I'm just looking at those credentials, you know.
Yeah, if we're just looking at those credentials, who do you think?
Yeah, I would probably, vote for her. But just like you were saying earlier about being politically educated and allowing the candidates to give their perspectives on what policies they want to drive through the village, and how to make the quality of life of the citizens of Dolton better. So and we talked about this too. Like, when was the last time Dolton had a mayoral debate? If they had one, I don't know. Big Mike, if he's in the comments, has Dolton ever had a mayoral debate before? So
that would be great. Big Mike actually told us in the comments, number 13, he feels Jason House is the most qualified. So we all got our perspective, and that's when it comes to getting down to the meat and potatoes, like a mayoral debate.
No, and see, that's the thing about it. It's like, I respect Big Mike's perspective because he knows a lot, and probably even more than what I know. Well, he does know more than I know.
He knows more than everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, he does know more than I know about this whole situation. So, but I mean, like I said, I'm just looking at this sheet and just looking at the qualifications, and to me, what gets me with Kiana is, she has a master's in political science. So, she knows how to work politics, because I see Jason has a very business heavy type of background, but sometimes when you try to run, and I know sometimes people have this thing of trying to run a political municipality as a business. It sometimes when you run it strictly as a business, it doesn't work out exactly the way it should be, because when you're talking about a business versus a city, a municipality, where you have to deal with, many more people. You have to deal with various lives. You know, you may have a village or a city that may have a bunch of rich people, may have a bunch of poor people. You know, you may have different ethnicities. You may have different, you know, you got genders, you got children. And yeah, that's not a, you know, that's not, you can't run it as a business, strictly as a business. Now there's a business component to it, but at the same time, politicians who attempt to run cities and municipalities strictly as businesses typically fail. They typically fail because, like I said, there are a lot of entities in these cities, you know, that are supposed to be nonprofit, like schools. Well, I mean, but I know like our education system now is being privatized in many areas of their sectors, but overall schools are supposed to be a nonprofit public sector. So yeah, I mean, you know, that just for me, Kiana Belcher would be the, you know, would probably be my choice for mayor if I had a vote in Dalton. But you know, Berg, I'm running for office.
You running me and you too. Now I got a friend that wants to talk to you. I'm gonna add him on.
Okay.
Big Mike, you there?
Hey.
Hey, Berg, how's it going?
Hey, welcome, Big Mike. I'm so glad you and Gardis are back and y'all let everything settle down. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem. I'm driving right now, so if you see me seeing clicks in the background, that's just me, you know, navigating the wheel.
No, please do. What do you have to say about what's going on politically in Dalton? Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, in regards to the flyer that you have on your screen, I work with the majority of everybody that's on that screen. Again, I know Kevin Bowens, obviously Tiffany Gaynor, Kiana Belcher, Jason House. And the reason why I picked Jason House is because when I was managing the Southland Human Services Leadership Council a couple of years ago, I had to work with Jason, and Jason was just way easy to work with, very down to earth, and a very numbers guy. And I've also worked with Tiffany before in the past when she was trustee, and you know, this is one of the reasons why I said I didn't even want to vote for her, because I felt like if you disagreed with her, she would not only become disagreeable, but she would not like you because you disagree with her. And I've had to endure that when I work with the village of Dolton, in particular with Tiffany, because she was over the housing committee. And so at the time, I was actually trying to, you know, start a non-for-profit where I was going to be buying some of these vacant homes and turn them into affordable housing. And we wasn't going to be making any profit off of it. You know, we were just trying to, you know, handle the vacancy crisis and alleviate the tax burden that was going on in the south suburbs, and particularly Dolton. Because if you're a homeowner, you're paying a whole hell of a lot of money in taxes.
Yeah.
But you know, I just ran into so many issues, you know, working with Tiffany when she was over the housing. So that's why I wouldn't vote for her. And the only person I would say that I did not have any interactions with is Allison Key. Kevin Bowens I met in passing, seems very professional type of guy. Again, as I mentioned in the comments, he had the biggest endorsement out of all of them from the U.S. Attorney's Office, but he lost. Which goes back to my point that in local elections, because I ran a lot of these local elections, what matters is the amount of money that you're able to put into your campaign material, and that way being able to influence people. You can say all day that so-and-so endorses you, but if you don't have the financial resources to put the word out, then it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And so Kevin Bowens, again, he had the biggest endorsement, but he didn't. I knew he had the biggest endorsement, but I'm not the only voter. And my vote can easily get drawn out because I'm not the only resident. But he didn't have the campaign funds to put it out there. And in fact, since they were running on the slate, A lot of these people, a lot of people donated to their campaign, but what I see, and this is another thing that another side here is fiscal responsibility, is I saw Tiffany promoting herself rather than her slate. Oftentimes, when she went to a lot of these campaign fundraisers, and yes, I was at a lot of those. It was more so like she was promoting herself. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if you're running, if it's like an every man for itself. But typically, when you run on the slate, 'cause I was there when she ran on Riley's slate back in 2013. It's about the ticket, the entire slate, the entire ticket. But that's just me giving my 2 cents there. I thought that maybe I could just get on, instead of typing in the chat because I'm driving, and just talk about it. And so again, in Belcher, I've interacted with her. I know her daughter personally. Her daughter went to Thornridge High School, and so I definitely know her daughter personally. Good friend of mine is her daughter's. I want, for the lack of a better word, baby father. So I know that family very well. My issue with Kiana Belcher is that, and again, this is a personal interaction that I have with her, is that at a time when I was working with Felita Creighton, and we was getting this youth program up and running. Now, at the time, I didn't know Felita Creighton was even trying to run for mayor. It became apparent to me once the event started, because how I found out is they shut our youth event down. Ronnie Lewis did, and when Ronnie Lewis was, they shut our event down. And I'm wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Excuse my French. And come to find out, we found out that Kiana Belcher went and told Trustee Sabrina Smith, who used to be a trustee on the board, and Trustee Sabrina Smith had conveyed to Ronnie Lewis that Felita Creighton was using that event as a campaign event and was using Dolton funds to do it, which you can't use public funds for campaign. And I didn't know any of this. And so, but that, at the time, I didn't know any of this. So that really soured my relationship with her.
I'm sorry to hear that. Now, can I ask a question because of something we're going through right now, Big Mike? And if
Sure.
it's not appropriate, tell me. Did someone tell you that, or did you find out yourself? Because a lot of things we're dealing with in the Southland is heavy rumors. And
Yeah, I know. That's very heavy rumors.
People.
Let's see, here's how I found out. I was at a Dolton Village meeting, and I heard Trustee Sabrina Smith talking about it to another colleague. They didn't realize that I was actually at that event, too. And when I heard Sabrina Smith tell so-and-so, I forgot the lady's name. I think it was Captain Vendell at the time.
No, it's okay. We don't need no names over here. You good.
No, I totally forgot the lady. It's been a long time ago. But I overheard Sabrina Smith saying to the lady that, yeah, we saw that Creighton was having a car wash. Kiana Belcher told me, so I called Ronnie Lewis, and because she's using it as a campaign event. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay. So at first I was going to go on tour and say, no, we wasn't using it as a campaign event. We was actually trying to use it for a fundraiser to raise for a youth committee, which I think was desperately needed because at the time, Thornton Township was putting together, well, Frank Zuccarelli at the time was putting together a juvenile restorative justice jury. So anybody that gets in trouble that are young, they go in front of this jury, and they decide whether that person serves community service or they have to do pay some sort of restitution. So I thought, well, maybe Village of Dolton should put together something similar, because again, it was during a time when Zuccarelli wasn't really doing anything for Dolton because of his political conflict with Ronnie Lewis.
Yeah.
And so I was putting all this stuff together, and then come to find out, our stuff was shut down. But again, I didn't intercept the conversation. I wanted to listen to get more details. And as I got more details, that's when I found out, and I actually confronted. And that's why I actually found out about Felita Creighton running for mayor. and then it became apparent that she was actually putting a slate together, which she did, um, to run against Ronnie Lewis. But at the time, Ronnie Lewis was not going to win that re-election anyway because of the simple fact that he was unpopular, and it
Yeah.
was pretty. It was pretty evident that Ronnie was going to win that election. And this is the time when Mary Avant ran. This is the time when Valerie Stubbs ran. In fact, Robert Shaw was the biggest endorser for Valerie Stubbs. She had Willie Lowe, former trustee in the '90s, on her
I
ticket.
know. I know. I'll tell you something funny. Bill Lockhart, you remember him?
Oh, of course.
They had us. You got to go door to door. I remember those days. I'm with you in those days for Valeria Stubbs, and that's what I covered in one of my things. Like the Shaws pushed her hard.
Can I
Oh yeah.
can I ask Big Mike a question?
Mhm.
So Big Mike, I was listening to you, and you were talking about endorsements and money, and I was going back to when Robert Shaw ran for mayor of South Holland. Now, I did not realize how much money that was put into that campaign. Recently, I just met a woman who worked in the city in the 29th ward, and she was saying that years ago when that campaign happened, they sent her to South Holland with a couple other people from the 29th ward to campaign for Robert Shaw, and it was like she was saying that there was businesses pouring in truckloads of money to this campaign. And she was also saying too that and Berg can confirm this because she went door to door in South Holland as well. She wasn't well received. And when they got back to the office, when they got to the 29th ward office, there were many people who were basically lying about their experience, because when they asked them about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, we were well received. We were well received." And she basically said that's a lie. I was damn near ran out of the city. And when I think when her campaign supervisor had heard her, she was like, "You can't say that." And they was like, "Why not?" Because the donors are here and we can't have them, giving that type of experience. Well, apparently she got let go. So my thing is this. So with Shaw having all of these endorsements, Danny Day, city endorsements, like Danny Davis was backing him and all this money, he lost 90% to 1 to DeGraff. I don't think DeGraff put as much money behind his campaign as Robert Shaw. So, what do you think that's just an anomaly, or that was
No, that's not an anomaly. You brought up something that I wish that I could have more characters in the chat, but see, they only give you 30 some characters to write your comment, because I was going to add that there's an exception to the rule.
Okay.
And that exception is if you're going up against an incumbent that's been in office for a long period of time and is not as controversial and doesn't have a lot of enemies, then no matter how much money you put in, you're going to lose. What I was trying to put in that statement that I had was where I was referencing Napoleon Harris. I think it was on the last show earlier today. I was trying to put in there, but again, the chat only gives me 30 characters to write my comment, that the only way Napoleon Harris was able to win the state Senate seat is because he wasn't running up against an incumbent. James Meeks, who is the pastor at House of Hope, he stepped down. He wasn't going to run anymore. So it was an open seat. And the establishment supported Pat Mahan for state Senate. And so they poured in all of this endorsements, but the issue with Pat Mahan is she didn't have the money. Napoleon Harris had the money. He was an ex-football player, so he had, he had a lot of money. So in that instance, he put like $220,000 of his own money into the race, and he ended up winning. And so that was like, again, more money going into the race. But if he was going up against James Meeks, and if Meeks hadn't resigned, he would have lost because again, Meeks is the incumbent, and to me, I mean, Meeks was very popular, and I think the only reason why he resigned is because they probably got something on him that he doesn't want aired out,
Yeah,
so he decided to step aside.
He even stepped down from his church.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, anytime you see that, and there's really no logical explanation for it, it's because they are found out, and they step down because they don't want the public to find out. But typically, the public is going to find out one way or another. But it's almost as if it's going to be years later when that person is no longer relevant.
That is true. That is true. Because I was thinking too, like, because when you were talking about Kevin Bowens having the endorsement of, what was it, the Secretary of State or
The U.S. Attorney's Office.
U.S. Attorney's Office. The problem is that how is like what type of endorsement? I mean, that would be different to say if like Frank Zuccarelli endorsed him. I don't know if Frank did endorse him, but
Frank endorsed that whole entire Tiffany Henry ticket.
Okay, so to me that had more weight on it because with that endorsement you also get a financial backing from him as well.
Well, that's not. Yeah, that's true. You do get the money. Do typically comes, and actually, it was in the case of Riley. However, if Riley ran against Shaw, he would have lost because Shaw had the money, and he was also, despite what other people are saying today, back then he was also very popular. They even named the recreation center in Dolton Park after him. He was very, very popular, despite what people are saying today. So even if he has Frank, even if Riley had Frank's endorsement, again, it goes back to the exception of the rule that you brought up about the graph. If a person that's well financially that has a well financed campaign is running up against somebody that is very popular, that is not controversial, that person is most likely going to lose. In fact, I'll give you another story. I remember being at and this is where the rules are a little bit different when you get to the national level. I should explain that earlier. I actually ran into Napoleon Harris when he was running for the U.S. Senate against Andrea Zob and Tammy Duckworth, and I actually ran into one of his campaign people. So I was having a conversation with them. I actually met them at Panera Bread and Flossmore. We were talking, and so I said to him, "Okay, so what do you think your strategy is for Napoleon Harris to win against these people?" So he laughed it off, and I was like, "Well, what you think it's an easy race?" He was like, "This is an easy race we think this is going to be a great race, an easy race, and him being the nominee." And I'm like, this isn't, local politics, right? When you get to like running for a national office, the rules change. So now it matters of who your endorsements are and also the money. And so when Dick Durbin came out and supported Tammy Duckworth, that was a done deal. And proves me right. So that is an example of how that's an exception, not exception, but how it works differently on the national, statewide elections. But if this was local elections and we had that conversation and he made that statement, then I would probably say if one of those people wasn't the incumbent and they wasn't popular, I would probably say he has a legitimate reason why this would be an easy race. And again, I ran several campaigns. And I know the dynamics of how the politics go. I know the game. And so when you get to that national stage, it's very different. It's a different ball game.
Yeah, no, we're looking at the presidential race right now, and that's getting crazy. We don't even know who's going to be the Democratic nominee, and we got the Democratic National Convention coming up next month.
It's going to go to a contested convention because when you're having all these Democratic people, senators and congressmen saying that Biden should step down, that lets me know two things. One, there's conflict within the Democratic National Committee, and there's a side of voters that there's a side of Democrats that say yes, we want Biden as a nominee, and you have some that says, I think he should step back, he should step down. And so the issue though is that even though despite the polling that the left wing media likes to pose to say that Kamala Harris have a strong chance of beating Donald Trump, the reality is that's not the case. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost the Democratic nominee against, she was one of the first to drop out, is when you look at her debating, number one, she's not really a great debater. She takes things very personal.
Yeah,
very personal.
Yep.
Another thing is her record, her conviction record is absolutely unbelievably bad when it comes down to African American men, black men. She laughed about it in the interview when they were asking her why she's convicting men for weed violations, marijuana violations. And then when she ran and won the U.S. Senate, they didn't blast in California that she was the first African American woman that won that, or not first, but like the African American woman that won that seat. She was trying to identify as Native American. I think it was Native American. I got to go back and look at the news clippings.
Yeah,
but
her father's Jamaican and her mother's Indian.
Right. So she tried to identify as Indian. Right. So, okay. So that's going to eventually come out. And another thing is that Trump is already going into these battleground states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and he's going into rural America rallying them up. Biden is not doing that. In fact, Biden is really having a hard time convincing his own party that he should stay put as a nominee. Trump is already in these battleground states, rallying the troops. And I know that a lot of people don't want to hear the truth, but with me, you're gonna hear the truth. I'm not gonna sugarcoat, I'm not gonna BS anybody. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. And that is that if Biden steps aside, the Democratic Party is gonna have a very difficult time finding somebody that is, number one, likable, number one, that can attract voters, and not just voters, but young voters. And number three, that can mobilize the Russell Belt states. And they don't have anybody. The last person ran in 2012 that can do that. He can't run anymore. So as a result, that's going to be the downfall of the Democratic Party. I've been telling people close to me that you might as well just get prepared for a Trump presidency, because that's exactly what you're going to see. What you're seeing in the Democratic Party is a circus, and I'm telling you, and you're hearing it from me. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a contested convention when you start seeing delegates withdrawing their support for Biden, and they're going to start putting their support for somebody else. I would not be surprised.
Are they going to go the super delegate route like they did in 2016, and because that was the way they got Bernie Sanders knocked out?
Well, the Democratic. So this is another thing too, and I'm glad you brought the super delegate point up. I'm going to answer your question in a second. But I want to talk about the power of super delegates and how the Trump election in 2016 is similar to the Obama nomination in 2008. And that is Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in both of those times when she ran. She won the popular vote in 2008 when she ran against Obama, and she won the popular vote in 2016 when she ran against Donald Trump. However, in the case of Obama, he won the most super delegates. And to answer your question, Gardis, a part of the Democratic National Committee or convention have the super delegate as a part of the process. And this is basically one person, or this most likely a well-connected politician or a wealthy donor that's going to cast a vote on behalf of on for a president, basically for a candidate to be president. The issue with the superdelegate and the Democrat National Convention in August is that some of those people are speaking out against casting their vote for Biden, which you had never seen before, because they think that Biden is literally on the way to be out, on the way to being out. But in the case of, and I want to stay on this thing about the popular vote here. I brought that up because I want you to see that this works on both sides. Okay, it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats. Because if you really count the popular vote, Hillary Clinton should have been president back in '08.
Yep. Yeah.
And she shouldn't have been. She should have been president. She won the most delegate. I mean, not the delegate. She won the most popular vote. But Obama won the super delegates.
Yeah.
She won the popular vote in 2016, but Donald Trump won the electoral vote. So that's why I brought that up, and I'm glad you brought the super delegate piece up, because it's going to go to a contested adventure, mainly because the super delegates are there's some that are really iffy on casting their vote for Biden. Like, you got to understand, Biden is the projected nominee. He hasn't been voted as a nominee yet.
Mhm.
He's the projected. They have to have the convention. That's the purpose of the convention, to nominate the party, to nominate the person that will represent the party in the election.
So, do you think, if I may ask, unless you had a question, Gardis,
No, go ahead.
do you think, Big Mike and Gardis, do you think that we in Dolton or the Southland, period, are we depending only on a popular vote and not the education of the politics?
That's a great question. Guys, you want to go? You want me to take this one? Or you want to take this?
I'll let you go first.
That's a question I've asked myself for years,
Mhm.
because the problem is that people don't attend the meetings. They attend them now because of, it's affecting them directly.
Hmm.
But when it's not affecting them directly, I used to go to the Dolton meetings all the time. I can count on one hand how many people that attend those meetings regularly.
Me too. Yeah.
So, and to answer your question, only a small percentage of people are educated enough to make a decision.
Hmm.
The majority of people make the decision based on popularity. And in the case of Tiffany Hanger, when she gave out free gas, she took the playbook off of Willie Wilson. She didn't just come up with that. Willie Wilson came up with that in Chicago when he was giving out free gas.
Mhm.
That's the old Chicago tactic of vote buying. I'll pay for your gas if you cast your vote for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, so when you give somebody free things, they're gonna always cast their vote for you.
Hmm.
Why do you think? And I'll take it on a national level to give an example. Why do you think Lyndon Johnson got reelected in 1964, or got elected for the first term in 1964? He got elected because of the war on poverty. Free things, you
Hmm.
know, give you free things. Well, and that's popular. The war on poverty, social welfare. That's what I call it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Why do you think Obama got elected in 2008? Other than the fact that, yeah, he was very, very popular. He was very popular. But other than the fact of his race, he did say a lot of great things about, access to healthcare, free access to healthcare.
Hmm.
You don't have to pay zero. And again, I'm talking about Senator Obama. I'm not talking about President Obama, because those are two different things. I mean, not two different. Those two different people, I should say. same person, but different mindset, if you will. You know, his healthcare plan, the difference between Hillary Clinton's and his healthcare plan is that it will be there if you need it. So that if you want it, it's free. It's there for if you need it. Government will not mandate that you buy health insurance. Hillary Clinton plan was exactly the same with one twist, and that is if you don't get health care insurance, you will be taxed on your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big difference. So everybody was going for Obama because of the free healthcare. Yes, I don't have to be denied healthcare insurance due to pre-existing conditions. You know, I can automatically get health insurance when I need it. I mean, that was one of his signature campaign promises, among other things, such as, you know, the economy and all those things. But, you know, in politics, if you say that you're going to give somebody something for free, you're going to be a really likable candidate, especially on the local level. You're
Yeah.
going to be a very likable candidate. If I say, look, I'm running for mayor of Dolton, and I'm going to make sure that I will give tax rebates to every homeowner in Dolton. It doesn't matter if I don't have the numbers to make the math make sense. It doesn't matter if I have any of those things. The fact that I said that I'm going to make sure that your taxes are cut by the time I leave office, you are going to vote for me because I'm giving you something for free. And people love free things.
You know what, Big Mike, you made me think. What do you think about and like I said, I try to just look at both sides. I know tons of seniors. We see seniors at this board meeting, but I
Hmm.
know tons of them that's like, she gave me a new roof. She gave me some
Yep.
window. She fixed my
You know why
sidewalk.
she's doing that? You know why and I believe you. You know why she's doing that?
Hmm.
Because, and again, this comes from me running campaigns, and I've run very many of them. She's doing it because seniors vote. They vote. If I know that a certain demographic votes all the time, I make sure they get free things all the time. That's what Frank Zuccarelli did. You know, that lawn care system, it used to be called ZAP, but I don't want to call it what it's called now. I'm going to stick with the tradition. It's called ZAP. And the whole process of it is that you hire young people to cut grass for free or at a discounted rate for seniors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You do things like you run the pantry, you do a lot of those things, but you have a lot of programs and tax rebate programs for who? Seniors. You don't
See?
have young people buying homes or owning homes. Most of the time, it's seniors that own homes. So if you do things for the seniors will always go out and vote. Those are the people, and remember what I said, I can count on one hand how many people that went to those meetings regularly. I, I guarantee you the majority of them, actually all of them, are over 65. And
Yeah.
they vote. They vote. They vote. So the more I cut taxes for seniors, the more I do this for seniors, the more I do that for seniors, they're going to come out and vote. Young people don't vote. So you realize that the only time we care about getting jobs for young people is when their actions are affecting those that go out and vote.
Amen. Um,
That's why and this is again. I used to run a youth council, um, and that's the only time politicians give a crap about young people because they don't vote. They don't vote. And if their actions are affecting people that do vote, they're going to come up with a solution that is going to benefit them. But they're only doing it because it's affecting their voting base.
mm-hmm. What do you think about, if you don't mind me asking this, because I got you guys
Wait,
voting.
Paul,
I have so many
before you
questions.
go, before you ask that question, I want to hear Gardis' response to that
Oh
because
yeah,
I
go
so I
ahead.
was gonna go first.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
What,
Okay, so
what, what,
sorry.
what was the question again?
Do you think it's more of a popular vote that Dalton is depending on, or do you think it's more of, it's a lack of education? That's what I was asking. I hope I said it right, Big Mike. But is it a more is Dalton more? Are we voting on a popular vote,
Like
and
a popularity contest?
yeah, or we're not educated in the politics? We're not educated, so we're just voting on the popular vote.
Of course, it's a popular vote. I mean, when you think about, and Big Mike done said a lot of things that I've been nodding my head here and agreeing with. But it's basically rooted in the educational system. They don't teach civics. Nobody knows who's. I mean, I'm willing to bet you when you look at and one of the reasons why young people don't vote is because they don't know who's in office. You know, I bet you if you ask a 21-year-old resident in Dolton, name all the trustees in Dolton. Well, I mean, somebody might know because they've been looking at YouTube all day, but at the same time, they don't know who their trustees are. They probably know who the mayor is because she's on TV all the time. But I'm pretty sure you couldn't if you asked them who was the mayor before her, they wouldn't even know. And they wouldn't even know who was running. So we have a lack of political education with our young folks, and this is the reason why they don't vote. You know, you don't give them a reason to vote because they don't know who they're voting for. And I mean, this stems all the way back to when I was in primary school and even in college. My first political science class was my freshman year in college. And our first assignment was to basically fill out a complete political org chart according to where your address was. So you had to go all the way from your alderman all the way up to the president of the United States. And this is when Bill Clinton was president. So do you know many people filled out 2 slots? They filled out Richard Daley, who was the mayor, and Bill Clinton. They couldn't even name who the vice president was at the time. And what was so scary about it, because I was at Chicago State, the year before, Carol Moseley Braun was a state senator. People couldn't even name her, and she campaigned at Chicago State. And it was sad. It was really, really sad.
Carol Moseley Braun? Are you serious?
Yeah, Carol Moseley Braun made a huge appearance at Chicago State back in the early 90s before she won the Senate seat.
Wow. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, I was shocked by that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so it's a lack of political education, and probably one of the reasons why older folks vote, because they know a little bit more about it. Because you know they're the ones that primarily read the newspapers, read the mainstream media, and basically keep up with it. And so when you talk about, you know, board meetings, because it's so funny. I've been working at District 148 for 8 years now, and the only time I remember a board meeting being full is when there was a controversial, about 7 years ago, there was a controversial hire at the district, and there was like a ton of people who were opposing it. And that was the first time I've ever seen the boardroom like filled up. And so I do the technology at these boardrooms, at these board meetings, and I rarely see anybody in the audience unless there's a special presentation where their children are there. Like the public hardly ever is in there unless there's an event or their children are being, you know, presented awards or something like that. And then once they get presented the awards, they leave. Nobody listens to the business. Nobody listens to the spending. So yeah, it's you know, part of it is lack of political education, and it's basically just about who we know and what they can do for us. Nobody's looking at the overall issue. And Big Mike, I wanted to ask you this because I'm not sure. Has Dolton ever had a mayoral debate?
No, absolutely not. Not even close. So when Shaw was in office, people rarely ran against him because they knew they were. I mean, people ran against him, but it wasn't like big name people.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, no, they never. I mean, at least my time there, and plus, I would expect that on the township level, not on a village level where there's no offense to any village, but there's not a lot of people that can give it the time of day to and the actual ammunition of support for such a debate. At least I haven't seen one. I haven't seen a debate. I have seen forums, which are very different than debates because you're not really going against a person, but you having the candidates come there and they voice their opinion on things, and then the other candidate will voice their opinion. But it's very different than what a debate is, where you're actually attacking a person's argument. But also, before and I hope I answered your question, but I wanted to ask you something. A
Mhm.
good friend of mine is at District 2. Actually, a lot of them is at District 148. Joyce Jackson, I don't know if she's still there.
No, she's not there.
And Larry Lawrence, which I've heard what happened to him, he's filing a federal lawsuit against the Thornton Township.
He's the board president.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good friend of mine. Is India Ridley still there?
On the board?
No, just at District 148. India Ridley.
You know what? I saw that name before. I'm not sure.
What about Michael Winston?
I don't know who he is.
Okay, all right. I was just asking. That was yeah. So yeah, I've heard what happened to Larry Lawrence. I've actually read the lawsuit. It's absolutely a shame what's going on because he's been at Thornton Township for a long time.
Yeah, and also too, they fired. She ended up firing Owens, who's the vice president of our school board, and he was working over at Dolton as a meter reader because he didn't want to change attorneys just like Larry Lawrence did, so she ended up firing Bruce Owens as well. And what was so funny is she had the nerve to send Keith Freeman back over to the district asking if they were going to contribute or participate in her fireworks show. I thought that was the most hilarious thing because it was so funny. I ran into Keith Freeman when he was coming to the district office, and he saw me and said hi and, how's my day? And then he asked me, it was like, is the district office open? I'm like, of course it is. So I was like, wow, they had some nerve.
Well, I don't think if Keith Freeman saw me, I think it would have been a different because I remember when he worked at Robbins and he was trying to get a job at the township even when Frank was supervisor. That didn't go so well. But yeah, that's a different story for a different time. But yeah, I don't think he would. I think it would be a different interaction. Just leave it there.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, they got some nerve to just be, asking the district, could we use? There was a situation too where they wanted to use Lincoln School for some photo op Tiffany wanted to do, and they was like, no, we're not.
So what you're seeing now is, and I seen the video of Nina Graham denying requests to Tiffany to actually have her fireworks show on Thornridge lot. Here's what you're seeing here. I'm gonna give you a political. I'm gonna tell you from a political standpoint. These people are distancing themselves. They're distancing themselves from her because they know that she's on the chopping block. She's not going to get reelected, and they don't want to. And they know that their elections are coming up, and they don't want to be affiliated with that. So they're trying to distance themselves as much as possible. That's what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, I've already seen that from our district. Like they've been doing this for like almost a year now.
I did not pick up on that. Thanks for sharing. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, like we have these backyard barbecue. Not backyard barbecues, but we have these barbecues for 148 for like the 12-month employees like me. And also, too, people, residents who want to come out and get some free food and everything like that. And we used to hire, what's his name? Earhart as the DJ. Now Earhart is a supporter of Tiffany. We decided not to hire him. He was doing the district summer barbecues for like the last couple of years. So yeah, that's an example. That's one example of distancing.
Yeah, it's called political distancing, and these people are running for office. Because you gotta look at it like this: the school board is election; it's an elected position. The township is elected.
Hmm.
The village is all these people. All these positions are like, it's not like Chicago where you have the mayor picking who sits on the school board, who sits on the police board, who sits on this. You have multiple elections, and also side note here: this is why taxes in the south suburbs are very, very high, because you have all these governments that are tapping into your taxes, and they need to pay for services, separate services away from the municipality. That's why your taxes are really high. But when you have these municipality governments distancing themselves from a person, from a politician, it's because they know that election is coming up and they don't want to be any affiliate. They want to have no affiliation. This is why, I mean, I'm seeing it now with her board. While some of her board members are speaking up on the town, I'm talking about the township board, and how they're starting to distance themselves from her, because they know that she's not going to, that she's going to either have a hard time getting reelected. Scratch that. I don't even think she's going to get elected as Thornton Township Supervisor. I don't even think she is. And another thing I'm going to say is this: is that if she was as powerful as Frank Zuccarelli, you wouldn't have all of this conflict of people not wanting to support you, not politically too, but just in general. You wouldn't have all that. Yeah, Frank had issues with certain people, but again, it wasn't like a whole board of people.
No,
Or
Like, for example,
something, people having to get a new job. What was that number, Gardis, of the people? I heard Miss Sandra Tracy's speech, but I was shocked when I heard it. Was it 138 people? Or
yeah,
100?
it was over 100 people who was fired from Thornton Township
yeah,
during her period. And it's so funny, when I was working at the township, I done seen some things that would have got you fired at every other, any other organization, business, or municipality. But at Thornton Township, it was almost like, the way I observed it was, you literally had to kill somebody and be charged with murder to be
yes,
fired from your job.
she come late to the meetings.
Oh, Tiffany?
Oh yeah, 'cause I know she come late to the meetings, don't she?
Oh yeah. And she threw me off in the last meeting, because what I was observing at starting, like, when I was counting earlier in the year, when I was going to the meetings, is that if she saw, because what happens is that Keith Freeman will walk out the back and he would just like look around and see who's the media there. So if it's like mainstream media, like 2597 and 32 or whoever, and then the Lansing Journal is always there, she would typically delay for like about 20 to 30 minutes if she has the meeting. Now, if it's just maybe one mainstream media person, she'll probably delay it for about 15-20 minutes. But if it's just like, say, the Lansing Journal there or something like that, she would start the meeting close to on time.
See, when I had to work with her when she was over the housing committee, she was always late. It was always a problem. She was always late.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll have our meetings.
she never start the meeting on time.
We have our meetings at 5 p.m. We used to joke, me and my partner and I, we used to joke and say, when she said 5 p.m., we better put it at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, because she's gonna be late.
Yeah, well, yeah. It. I mean, that's an interesting situation when you think about how the township meetings have become now, because being at the last couple of township meetings, it was never like that. And
I know. I've been at several of them when Frank was supervisor.
Exactly. And
Night and day.
Exactly.
It's unrecognizable. It is so unrecognizable. You would think that you somewhere, and I don't want to put another community down, but you just think that you were somewhere in Roseland, Inglewood, or West Garfield Park, where a lot of the community board meetings don't rarely start on time, and it's very chaotic.
You know, I don't think you're putting the community down. I think that this goes back to the history on how things are to this point. Like, is it anyone that can be accountable or that can point out? Like, even when we're doing stuff at the meetings, I always have to. I'm a Daltonite, so I got to separate it. I'm like, Dalton member meetings kind of trickled over to Thornton Township meetings, in my opinion.
Rightfully so.
It got chaotic, and now it's almost. I would love your opinion on this, but before I do, Gardis, were you finished with your statement? I don't want to
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm finished.
What do you think? And I'm not trying. Feel free not to answer, Gardis or Big Mike. With the situation, the climate going on in Dalton, we have to get through this election come November. We should be seeing at the end of this month some people coming out for elections. Some people should be throwing their campaigns out there. Is it better to be on one side, the opposite side, the popular side, the not so popular side, or neutral when you're dealing with this? Or should you just never reveal what's going on with you internally on politics? People are coming to start knock on doors, and it's an anti-Tiffany campaign, but we're anti-Tiffany against who? Against what? We don't even know what's going on yet. Nobody got their campaign up. Everything is assumed. Do you think it's better to be for the popular vote, for yourself, which I understand is a deep question, or just ignore what's going on politically to save yourself?
Well, I mean, if politically astute people would typically keep well, in this particular situation, keep their votes to themselves.
Me too. I think
what I'm predicting in this election, because what was the voter turnout in 2021? Was it like 25%?
No, it was 14%, I believe. I have to recheck, but I think it was like 14% in Dalton.
Oh, wow.
Big Mike, do you know for sure? I'm looking, but I don't think we had a big turnout at all.
Okay.
No, not even. I was out there registering people to vote, and I was also out there, um, giving my opinion on who, because a lot of people came to me and asked me, should I even vote because all of the candidates were bad, and I agree. But I told them to vote their conscience, and I should have never said that. I should have said something different, but I just told them to vote their conscience.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking it's going to be the same voter turnout, and maybe even less.
I think it's going to be less as well. I got from a inbox. They said voter turnout was close to 14% in Dalton that year that Tiffany won. That's why she's able to say that 82% of the vote. I think that now, whether this is my opinion, this is not Mike or Gardis's. I think a lot of times, whether people that are encouraging we need help in Dalton think or not, it's scaring a lot of people. I speak to the people here in Dalton that are not on the microphone, that are my neighbors, that they're scared to even come out to vote.
Let me put mine too. Gardis, are you finished?
No, go ahead.
So, what was your question again? I want to make sure I answered the question in its entirety.
The question is, we're in Dalton, 22,000 people, 14% of the 22,000 come out to vote. Tiffany win with 82% of the vote under 1,000 people, 1,000 people. And
that's actually a misleading statistic, but go ahead.
It's a misleading statistic. Yeah, when she I won with 82%, you're right. My question is, a lot of people, they don't want to be involved in the drama. Do you go for the popular vote and just stay safe? Do you go for telling people what you believe in? The unpopular
Okay,
vote,
I see what you're saying.
just keep your keep everything to yourself and just go to the polls. What do you think? I was trying to phrase it the same way, but a lot of people are scared. It's a lot of people that are watching the board meetings, but they're not attending. They're not attending, as you know.
Okay, so all right. So the issue with this is that two things. One, because you have a lot of outside influence from people that don't even live in Dalton. And I
Yeah.
actually saw at board meetings, and you see a lot of people that are not even residents of Dalton.
Yeah.
Not even residents of the township or the
Exactly.
Well,
Southland.
a lot of people in that group, and I don't mean to cut you off, Big Mike. We just found out a lot of people in that group that was, and this is not personal. I didn't know this. A lot of people in the group that was telling me I don't live in Dalton or I don't know if you saw it, but like sort of heckling me. They didn't live in Dalton or had property, and I was
Yeah.
shocked. I didn't know. I was shocked.
So here's the problem that people like Jason House, people like Riley Rogers, if he decides to run, this is what they're going to face. When you run for before you announce your candidacy that you're going to run, you have to be on the ballot. That means you're going to require you to get some petitions, right? This is similar to this strategy was very similar to when Barack Obama ran in '96 against this lady named Alice Palmer, who was a state senator of the Hyde Park district.
I remember. Yeah.
What happened was that so many people signed this lady's petitions, and they weren't residents. So they did a signature check, and they were able to get her off the ballot. What I think I could foresee the strategy that Tiffany and her campaign is going to do if she decides to run, because I don't know if she's going to decide to run or not. What they're going to do is, because of people wanting her out so bad and they don't live there, they can easily get people to sign petitions. And a lot of these people don't know how politics work. They get them to sign these petitions, hoping they get them on the ballot, and come to find out, all it takes is, I think, about 10% of your petitions. If it has if it has a name that person doesn't live in that area, it can automatically kick you off the ballot, and you have to make up those petition signatures by the deadline. If it's past the deadline, which a lot of people wait until after the deadline to check signatures, then you will have to run as a write-in candidate. So the issue here is that because there's a lot of outside influence, it could negatively impact. It can basically shoot themselves in the foot. I'm gonna just put it that way. And to answer your question, me personally, I look at it like this: a man that doesn't stand for anything falls for anything. I'm always stand for what's right. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. And most of the people that have a problem are people that's outside of Dalton. And quite frankly, they can kiss my, you know what? I don't want to keep it PG-13 here. You have every right to support whoever you want to support. Quite frankly, I don't see anybody in Dalton that's running that I think that is a great candidate. The people that I want to run, they're not going to run because they don't want the mess. They don't want the nonsense. You know, the best people in the town, or best people in the village rather, I can name them. They'll never run because they're like, well, why would I put myself through all of this BS where, you know, I could perhaps put my family in danger because I say something that the majority of people who are not residents, by the way, disagree, but it could be in the best interest for the residents. I'll give you an example. There's a guy that ran for mayor of Harvey a couple of years ago. And he was a great guy. I didn't know his politics that well, but I know from his personality, you know, he was a great guy, very down to earth, had a little bit of charisma to him. But his whole campaign office got blown up.
What?
His whole campaign office got blown up.
What?
Yep.
Nope.
How long ago was this? I'm sorry. I never heard of that. This shocked me. What happened?
That was the 2013 election when that dude ran against Eric Kellogg.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a
And
criminal
so,
mayor. That was a criminal mayor right there.
and things like that. So if I'm a good, upstanding citizen, and I want to provide the best for the village, and I'm hearing stories like that, why would I put my whole life in danger? Why would I put my family in danger? To do something that I believe will be in the best interest, but no one from the village is going to come to, because no one in village of Harvey, or city of Harvey rather, comes to this guy's aid. They didn't come to his aid.
Mm-mm.
I know the guy, and I said I'm sorry for what happened, but and I remember when during election day, he was out there by the polls, and Kellogg's people were mean mugging him. You know, you could tell that there was some friction, there was some anger there, but and eventually at the end of the day, he lost. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm an upstanding citizen, why would I want to put myself through that stuff?
No, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. It don't even be them. It be the people following them that does the horrific things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, Harvey is a classic example. Like what Big Mike was saying during that 2010, 2010, elections that happened. I mean, you can find several violations of voter suppression in that particular village, and that was one of the more extreme ones.
So we're just keeping ourselves oppressed, broken, down, and in disarray because we are not able to speak for ourselves. And I think that's so sad. Like, I think everybody should have a voice to vote for who they want to, support who they want to, and move from there. I also think the candidates have a responsibility to tell us what their platform is for.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when you say that about your ability to speak for who you want to vote for, I mean, I know that's all fair and good, but when you look at the local politics, especially like when you look at the Southland or even Chicago, it basically mirrors what's happening on the national level. I mean, look at what's going on. And somebody told me this, and I'm inclined to believe this. If Trump runs against Kamala Harris, you're going to see some of the worst mudslinging you've ever seen in a presidential campaign.
I thought we saw that with
Trump. Yeah, but I think this is going to be worse.
Well, a lot of it has to do with my point earlier that Kamala takes things very, very, very personal.
Exactly, and that's what he said. He was like, Kamala takes a lot of things personal, and Trump don't care about that. So this is going to be the worst presidential campaign you will probably see in history. And a lot of this mirrors what happens now. I mean, Big Mike just referenced an election in Harvey in 2013 where a campaign office blew up.
Didn't know about that. Oh my gosh!
I remember that. I vividly remember that one, and that was absolutely crazy. And that's next door to Dolton. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it just mirrors what happens. This is where we are at politically.
This is where I have a question. For both of you, feel free not to answer it. Just plead the fifth. What do you think about YouTubers that's on the outside running money for anyone against, or garnering money for a campaign for anybody against Tiffany, who are not even here to see what climate we're in, to see what's going on? It's just a Tiffany's bad, I'm good campaign. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, that's their money. They can spend it however they want. Campaign finance allowed them to do that. Again, there are candidates who create super PACs and have millions of dollars funneled into that super PAC where they can actually use it in any way that they choose. I mean, that's legal. My only concern, again, with that is people that are coming to Dolton that are not from Dolton, that are not residents of Dolton, that are not registered voters in Dolton, trying to use not tactics by any chance, but like for example, signing petitions. That's a no-no. Don't want to do that. Or doing things such as um, encouraging people to go out and try to pass a ballot, and they don't live there. Can't do
Mm,
that because those ballots will not be counted.
mm,
I am always about freedom, and
mhm,
people can spend their money however they want, however they choose. People have YouTube. People have a platform on their YouTube.
mhm.
You could be able you could do whatever you want on that platform. You know where it crosses the line is when you're trying to get your audience that are not Dalton residents to go to Dalton and try to make a change. When in actuality, this is not their fight. It's the residents' fight.
Mm,
And I want to add to that too, because the YouTubers, and I have to say this, they made this story national. They
yeah.
helped make this story national, because if it wasn't for them, the national media and some of the international media would have never picked up on this.
Mhm.
And I've been watching this since she's been in office. I've never seen papers in New York or Los Angeles or even across the ocean mentioning Tiffany Haynyard until maybe last September, October, and that's when YouTubers started garnering the attention of the national media. So it's ridiculous when people want to blame the YouTubers for this whole situation when they made a light to this national this event nationally. Now I agree with Big Mike. It's one thing to come in, to actually physically come into Dalton and try to do something, try to sway voters when you're not a resident, you don't live here. And it's crazy when you think about there are people on the ground who have done 3 years of work trying to get Tiffany out of office, and some of it had came to fruition months ago when the federal authorities started passing out subpoenas.
Yeah.
So work has been done already, but now we're in the process of possibly compromising a federal investigation and trying to understand like who might be running for Dalton mayor, because from my understanding, maybe you might want to correct me on this, Mike, there might be possibly 5 candidates for mayor of Dalton.
It's going to be more than 5 candidates.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
all
saw,
right.
I confirmed at least 3. I got 3 confirmed candidates that been emailing me. 3.
Okay,
Well,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
when you get closer to the election, you're going to start seeing about 10 different petitions going around. A lot of these people, they're not serious in running for mayor, but they just want to get their name out because they're looking at another office that they're eyeballing that they really want. But a person may run for a bigger office just to get their name and their brand out.
Yeah, and that happens. I know one. We're gonna talk about it. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all off, and I'm gonna tell you off camera because I think that y'all both know this name. Wait a minute, I can email y'all in the private, and you just say yes if I'm right. But
Um,
it's one. It's one. I just sent y'all in the private, but
I
did
don't
y'all know
want to say I don't want to say the name, but because I don't want any
you saw the
actions towards the
name? Did
channel.
you
But
see it though?
Yeah. I saw it.
Yeah, that one is.
we'll keep that anonymous. We'll keep that
No, we're gonna
anonymous.
keep that anonymous. That one is coming for the throne, honey. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna play some videos today, and you can feel free to call in. I will be long-winded with y'all. If you want to call in the middle of the video, you can. I'm gonna play because Big Mike, this may be again anything I say. Feel free not to answer. I've been
Hmm.
doing some research and breaking down. I always like to do board meetings. I like to do one for Tiffany, one not for Tiffany, one for Tiffany, one not for Tiffany. I'm doing the same thing with like newspaper articles. One for Tiffany, one not for Tiffany. I got stuck under Riley. Riley seemed to
Wait,
have
what was
more.
that? What you actually broke up? You said what
Oh,
about Riley?
oh, I said I got stuck. Did you hear the part where I said I tried to do one article for Tiffany,
Yeah,
one not?
I heard that part, but you was bringing in Riley. What was I didn't hear the other question or what you
I
mean.
got stuck with Riley today. Riley seemed, and I'm not, and people think this is the rumor, Tiffany paying me. Tiffany not paying me. If she was, y'all would see me broadcasted from Miami, okay? But this is the thing. I got stuck on Riley today because I kept seeing more and more shootings and police chasings. And I'm not against anybody, but it was more under Riley tenure than I saw police clips of Tiffany tenure. Do you have anything that you could enlighten me on where things changed? I didn't see that much action on Tiffany as I did under Riley. I know Riley was mayor longer, but my goodness, I had more material for the police effing up, for lack of a better word, under Riley's tenure.
Well, to give Riley the benefit of the doubt, he
Mm-hmm.
did inherit a police department um, that wasn't at its best.
Oh.
The issue with Riley, the issue with the police under Riley's tenure, um, is that a lot of these officers wasn't screened properly. See, a lot they were bringing in a lot of officers that had records in the past. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. The police chief that ran against Tiffany Henyard in the general election. This guy has, um, for lack of a better word, he has a disciplinary record a mile long. I think he was accused of beating on his wife. So there's been a history of police officers with bad intentions or bad records rather, and that's been going on to Riley. Now towards the end of Riley's tenure, there's some of that stuff that's been cleaned up, but you know, with Robert, with Chief Collins, for example, that was Riley. That was brought in under Riley, not Tiffany. He actually called out the corruption that was going on under Riley, and you could say that he whistleblowed, and he was gone. So that all the stuff that you're seeing with corruption and all of that's always been happening under Riley too. The difference between Riley and Tiffany is Tiffany's more flamboyant.
Mm.
Tiffany's more out there. Hey, 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 I'm doing this. Catch me if you can. Riley is more subtle, very secretive, very strategic on what he does. Doesn't want the attention to himself. Tiffany is embracing all this attention, even though it's negative. She's embracing it. Started a podcast, putting fuel on the fire, putting gasoline on the fire. That's not what Riley. That's not Riley's MO. So all the stuff that you see him about the police, that was happening under Riley as well. It was getting cleaned up a little bit towards the end, but there was still a lot of corruption that was going on. It just wasn't as outcast in the media because again, Riley is not as flamboyant.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's like comparing Frank Lucas to Nicky Barnes.
But
Frank was the low key drug dealer, and Nicky Barnes he called himself on top.
flashy.
I
Yeah,
got
exactly.
another
That's
question for
exactly.
y'all when y'all finish because I don't know about Nikki Barnes, but I got another question. When y'all finish, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep on going.
Oh, I was actually done. In fact, another YouTuber trying to compare Bill Shaw and Tiffany, to try to put them in the same boat.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, no, that shouldn't even be put in the same boat. They shouldn't even be. That's like trying to put Pizza Hut in the same category as McDonald's or Italian Fiesta in the same category as Domino's. Now, you and I, everybody that is from Dolton know that Italian Fiesta is on a whole nother level.
Ooh,
As Domino's.
I can go for it now, but I don't need that parking ticket, so I'm gonna just sit out.
So,
I need
but
that another ticket.
I bring that up because uh, you're comparing apples and oranges here. Robert Shaw was mentored by Richard J. Daley. And I have to say J. Daley because when I say Richard Daley, people automatically think I'm talking about Richard M. Daley, the previous mayor. Both of them were mayors, but the son. Now I'm talking about Richard J. that served from 55 to 76 as mayor of Chicago.
Now you mentored by him. You already know. And side note, since I've been doxxed, yes, I have done some stylist work for the Sun before. But yeah, interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, so him and his brother, they were both schooled by Daley. And Robert Shaw was the alderman of Roseland. I think I mentioned earlier that he was a part of that trucking scandal. You know,
The shovel, but we didn't figure out which shovel. But
No, it wasn't Operation Silver Shovel. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
so just look up the trucking scandal. It was a scandal under Daley back in the I think the mid 2000s or early 2000s, and it had a lot to do with trucking companies, no big contracts for the city. Richard Daley's nephew, I believe, I think he was indicted for fraud. It was a lot of people got into some trouble with that scandal, but they were somehow able to escape it. And so, yeah, we're talking about career style, old style politicians. Because if it was Shaw that was in office, Shaw wouldn't want the media attention, or at least the negative. We wouldn't want the negative media attention because that's putting him politically vulnerable. And those that control the politicians in an area are the ones that are very silent. You never hear from them, and they're very strategic in how they do it.
very much so. Very much so. When you finish, Gardis, you got a rebuttal to that?
No,
Anything that Big Mike had to say, even with the daily operation that we don't know? That's what I'm calling it.
yeah. I was trying to find this this trucking scandal thing, but no, I mean, what's interesting is I believe Robert Shaw, wasn't he campaigning for Harold Washington when he ran for mayor in 77?
He went with somebody else. We talked about that. He went with somebody else.
Campaign for Shaw. He was supporting. So I think now I'm trying to if my memory serves me correctly, I think he supported Jane Byrne.
You're right, and it was a shock to everybody, Big Mike. We thought it was he was going to be supporting Harold Washington, but he supported Jay Byrne. You are absolutely
no, but that was what I meant was 77. This was Harold Washington's first time as
running for mayor.
And I believe Shaw, did support Harold Washington.
So another thing you should know is Robert Shaw. I don't know about Bill, but I know Robert Shaw and Harold Washington did not see eye to eye. As likely, again, it's shocking now because we're 40 years past that. Yeah. It's shocking now, but just like 20 years from now, it'd be shocking to hear that how come Bill Shaw and Frank Zuccarelli didn't see eye to eye? Well, It was a time when they did. They didn't see eye to eye. So it was that as well. Again, the reason why Shaw supported Jane Byrne at the time is because Jane Byrne was the direct protege to Richard J. Daley. In fact, Richard J. Daley mentored Jane Byrne on how to take over the political system. And then when he died, Michael Blanchard took over as mayor. And Blanchard fired her because Blanchard was trying to create his own political machine. And then you had the snowstorm in 1979, which basically made it so that it was so bad to the point that voters got really upset. Mm-hmm. The black communities did not have their snow shoveled. He fired basically every black worker in City Hall, and so and including Shaw's relatives. And so they backed Jane Byrne in 1980. I mean 1979 rather, 1979 when she ran, and she became the first female mayor. And they still supported Jane Byrne because she was a product of Richard J. Daley. Harold Washington was not. In fact, Harold Washington ran against his son. He ran against Richard M. Daley when he ran for the mayor for the first time.
Ooh.
But again, Jane Byrne was a product of the Daley machine. Michael Blandick wasn't. Harold Washington wasn't.
Do you think that's why they asked Jane Byrne, or did Jane Byrne make that decision herself? I know we're getting off topic a little bit. To sleep in the project. To sleep in a project.
Oh, to sleep in the project. It was a political. It was a publicity stunt. It was a because at the time, you got to think about it. At the time, it was back in 1981, and Jane Byrne had got elected as mayor on the promise of, and majority by black voters, on the promise of diversifying City Hall. She gets elected, and she did exactly what Michael Blandick did. She fired every black staff worker, just fired them and replaced them with white workers.
Mm.
And then she tried to make up for it because, again, we're getting close to the election of 1983 by going in and sleeping in Cabrini Green project on the north side.
That was yeah.
And a community activist by the name of Marion Stamps. Look her up, Marion Stamps. Marion Stamps and a couple of others stayed out watching her get into her limo at like when the cameras pack up and go, and they went to their Gold Coast apartment. Her and her husband.
Are you kidding me?
So Marion Stamps tried to tell people that this was all a publicity stunt, but people weren't hearing it. You know, and then she also had like a Easter party at Cabrini. That didn't go so well because I think about 50 or so people got arrested because they were campaigning. They were not campaigning. They were protesting. And this is at the time when Samuel Black, a community activist at the time, he's dead now. He just died like 2 years ago. Had met with Harold Washington and said that we want you to run. We need a black. We need a black. It's our time to take over City Hall. So Harold Washington told Samuel Black, register me 100,000 voters, and then we'll talk. They did that, and that's how he got it up on the ticket.
And raised 800. I think it was $800,000 too.
So yeah, so then Daley got in the race because Daley thought that Jane Byrne isn't carrying that tradition that his father set, that his father trained her to do. So Daley got in the election in 1983. He was the state's attorney at the time. Him and Jane Byrne ended up splitting the white vote while Harold Washington took 97% of the black vote, making him the Democratic nominee. And then this is where this guy named, I forgot his name, Bill Lander, I think that's his name. He got into the race to run against Harold Washington. And all of a sudden, the whole North Side turned into Republicans.
I thought it was Epton.
Yeah, I think that's his name. That's his name, Epton. Yep, that's his name.
What was his name?
Bernie Epton.
Bernard Epton. That's his name. Bernie Epton, Bernard Epton. Yeah, that's his name.
Thank you. This history is important. That we know things. I recall hearing the name of Marion Stamps. I did not know the history of what she went through. This is interesting. I appreciate y'all. Like this Southland, Chicago, Illinois politics. It has so many players that have never been recognized. Never been recognized.
Yeah, those who unfortunately they tore down Cabrini Green Highway. They still have the row houses, but anybody that was on the north side at that time, this is the 80s. They all know who Marion Stamps is. She was like she was one of the people that organized the gang troops and Cabrini Green, not the police. Even though Daley tried to say it was the police, no, it was Marion Stamps and her organization.
Yeah, I remember that.
Who was
because at the time?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say at the time, they tried to take credit for it, but then they couldn't answer why at the Robert Taylor homes on Federal Street, that there was still a lot of gang problems there, but in Cabrini you had that gang truce. Well, and again, I'm not trying to talk bad about any organization or any neighborhood, but at the time, but it's just at the time, Robert Taylor wasn't as organized as Cabrini in terms of community efficacy in the projects.
Big Mike, you mentioned another activist after you mentioned Marion Stamps, or you mentioned another name. It was someone, was it Black at the end?
Oh,
Or
Timeo Black. He marched with Dr. King. He marched with Dr. King back in 1966 when they were marching in Marquette Park and they were marching in Cicero. I met Timeo Black multiple times. Really nice guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, I met him too. I mean, we talking about a Chicago historian legend.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Timeo was who was the founder of the Black Peace Stone Nation?
Jeff Ford.
Yeah, he was Jeff Ford's history teacher. And what was so funny is that when Jeff Ford had got in trouble in school, Timeo was the only one that can talk to him and calm him down. And a lot of,
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but I was just saying, like, because as we know, Jeff Ford, he's in prison, and he's done some criminal, but Jeff Ford was very much into history, and many people have credit Timeo Black for giving him kind of like that inspiration to learn about it.
Man, y'all had given so much. I'm literally sitting here like these names and this history that you're mentioning. It's like it's so much that we need to know if we're going to have any kind of literacy on what happened in our past, period. I don't know the right platform, the right segment. I don't know how to do it over here, but I hope that it reaches people that may remember these people that changed the world. And what we're going through right now in Dolton, like, it can't be one-sided. We can't just Big Mike, I don't know if you follow what I was saying earlier, but I was like, the same people endorse Riley are the same people that endorse Tiffany, and the same people are endorsing the new mayor. It gotta end.
Well, with all due respect, so the same people that endorse Riley, some of them are they didn't endorse Tiffany.
Okay.
Ed Steve was one of those people that was against Tiffany, even when he was trustee on the board. I remember him going back at it with Tiffany when they were both trustees.
What do you think about them holding that space for Andrew Holmes? As we can see, like, you're a political person, so you tell me what you. But they're holding this space where they won't denounce Andrew Holmes because Tiffany's going to appoint whoever they take out, right? The trustees have.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I mean it's wrong, but I want to say this about Andrew Holmes.
Please say that.
So you don't want to make a mistake and establish a dangerous precedent where we get prosecuted by public opinion.
You're right.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because, from a legal standpoint, Andrew Holmes haven't been convicted of anything. And the one thing that these people don't want to do is try to push a campaign to get rid of him, because then you're borderlining the defamation of character liability. And so you don't want to do that. And then again, I don't know if he's I don't know if he's innocent. I don't know if he's guilty. We get caught up in our feelings, and rightfully so. I understand. People are emotional individuals. We all are emotional. We're going to make decisions based off emotion. That's just how it is. But we have the law for a reason, and that is when you want to get public opinion out, even though sometimes I don't think that we're successful in doing that. And if people do not truly like Andrew Holmes being on the board, then they have a constitutional right to cast a ballot when it comes time to do so.
Bam.
What did I say earlier about compromising an investigation?
Okay,
Exactly.
that is very true, because my whole thing is, if we're giving the outrage and charging at him, why is he not gone? So I guess you answered that question, because I'm like, he should be gone if the public want him gone, right?
Well, again, the people want. There was a time when people wanted Bruce Rauner gone, the former governor of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
But as an elected official, and he has been elected, I mean, he has, unless he has been that he's been recalled, he has every legal right to serve out his term. And
No.
if
Okay.
people don't don't want him there, I mean, they can just vote him out. I guess I know people don't want to hear that. There's a lot of things people don't want to hear. I mean, that's one of the reasons why.
Well,
The
yeah,
people,
he got 2 more years, Big Mike. He's not gonna get voted out this election. He got 2 more years.
right? And so he may resign. He may realize that his support is not there, and he may resign.
Hmm.
And I've seen that before, where the whole slate of a person that is unpopular, or part of a group that's unpopular, they get voted out, and only one person left, and they just step down because they realize that it's not going to end well. They know
Hmm.
that they're not going to get their agenda passed, and they know that nobody on the board wants to work with them. And at the end of the day, in politics, they're going to always make you the bad guy. And
Hmm.
so, why would I even put myself through that? I'll just resign and take myself elsewhere.
Got it. Got
Yep.
it.
So that's what I said. Berg, we had these conversations earlier. Like, let the federal investigators do their jobs.
That's
And,
it.
even it's interesting. Even if a person is federally indicted, they still can serve.
Yeah, look at
Oh, look at Riverdale.
Jackson over in Riverdale.
That's my favorite mayor in the Southland because of his little cheeks. That's his little cheeks are cute.
And
I
that was
don't know
last
nothing about
year.
him. Yeah, but yeah, he's still there. I have a question. Thaddeus Jones indicted, right?
No.
No, he was investigated.
No, he's just investigated.
Investigated.
Yeah.
Okay, investigated. Okay. I knew it was something going on. They was going after poor Thaddeus. But what they did do over there, those aldermen over there in Calumet City put some rules in place so it don't happen again. And I think that's what
Well, they may have passed. They may have passed that, but like I said, he can always get his people on the board. And they can overdo that.
like a overvote, like 4-6 or
Yeah, well, pass an amendment
okay.
to undo those things. The best way to get something to stick and get something to stick where it's really difficult, no matter who this person gets to overturn, is do what Riley did. Let the voters vote and put it as a referendum. So that way, the only way to undo that is you get help from Springfield, or you have somebody else put another ballot amended measure on the referendum. They have voters vote for it. But see, then they will have to go to the voters and explain why they need to undo that.
I got a question for you, Big Mike. And I hate to hold you in Gardis. I'm gonna let you go. 11:24. I've been long-winded. Okay, I know that you said Jason House is the best pick in your opinion.
And the photo that you picked, that you shown,
In that group, yeah, the group I showed.
yeah,
What do
he's the
you
best one on all of them.
out of all of them? Okay, because we would do. Oh, hold on. Let me share the photo so everybody can see. So we shared this. This was the original 2021. Like, I try to take into consideration they were running in a pandemic and blah blah blah. I try to take all that out. Jason House is the best candidate. I said number 11. You said number 13. If Jason House, because it's a 2-term limit, Jason House cannot be trustee again.
hmm
What's the best position for Jason House and Dolton, in your opinion? If he can't be mayor.
In my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
um, so I hate to be philosophical with your question, but
No, no, go ahead. Yeah, it's a hard question.
I I would rather put Jason in a. It's one thing to put him in a position that I think would best suit him, versus
Mm-hmm.
putting him in a position that he would provide the greatest impact.
Mm,
And I've always known Jason as to be a finance guy,
mm-hmm.
someone that's really great with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know in politics, the minute that you put somebody in the finance position, you start realizing all the dirty stuff that's going on. That person either has to cooperate or they get fired.
Mm.
And so that's going to limit his impact.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay. Mm,
So
that's
so
interesting.
that's what that's so it's, again, you have to think of it like when I'm hiring people, because I've hired folks before, I don't just look at, okay, this person is good in this position, this good person is good. Yeah, it's okay that they're good. They have probably have the skills, but what would this person do to make the greatest impact for their organization?
Mm,
That we know that this impact will just shine throughout and everybody will take notice. That's what I look for when I'm analyzing people. When I'm analyzing their skills, I'm analyzing their passion. I always ask them what matters most to you and why. And I ask that question because I want to know exactly what motivates them to do what they do. And if I were to ask Jason House that, I mean, I could see anything working with numbers. And but I know that if one of these people become mayor, that's on the screen, and they put him in finance, he can never be impactful because he, like in the case of Tiffany, if he uncovers anything that you know say that's not in the best interest of voters, and he gets fired. I mean, you saw that with her keeping the trustees out of what is it, my
viewpoint.
viewpoint?
Viewpoint. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And so
Mm-hmm.
I can see that exactly happening to Jason. So when you do that, his impact becomes limited. He can do the job, but he's just not as impactful.
Wow. I thank y'all for the insight. I never thought about that because I said Jason House needs to be a village administrator because he got the money knowledge. And look at what you said. That's so true.
You want to put somebody in a position that's going to do enduring impact.
Mm,
Hmm. Well, it's interesting. I picked Kiana, and just looking at the sheet, and meeting her a couple of times. I mean, I've never worked with her, but I've talked to her before, shortly. But for me, I think part of being a politician, and especially in that particular platform, is you have to balance out making tough choices. And I think, and I've also talked to Jason House as well. I've also met with him as well. And it just seems like Kiana would be a person who would take that particular decision head on and
mm,
make that tough choice. Jason will probably be the type of guy, well, let's see if we can, you know, work around it or something like that. There's just some decisions you just can't work around.
yeah.
You have to make that particular decision. I think Kiana has a personality for that, and I think she has a little bit more political skill than Jason does. So that, I mean, just from my standpoint, that's why I feel Kiana will probably be the best one out of this group.
Well, Kiana does have a little bit of that charisma, but I would like to add that when you're evaluating these people, always take note of who they have around them
Oh yeah.
and evaluate them as well, because uh, the last thing you want is to bring one of these people. And I'm not saying this is what Kiana, this is what Kevin, or this is what Jason. I'm just saying in general, is always the person that is around the person that you're interested in hiring that will be the biggest influence.
Mm.
Hmm.
This
Yeah,
is
And
more
no,
than we thought.
I've
yeah,
seen, and like I said, I've worked with, I've seen them all. I've seen it all. I've worked with politicians. I've hired people to work for me. I've done all those things, and I've seen just about everything.
Mm,
And I could tell you that the impact matters, but it only matters if A, that person is allowed the autonomy to do that. And then secondly, it matters if that person is around someone that's not only going to motivate them, but is going to also be a great influence on them.
mm.
It doesn't make any sense to hire somebody or put somebody as mayor, but so and so is known for running an illegal business. It won't be long before that stuff bleeds into the to the village.
Hmm. Big Mike, you making so much sense. I have another question if you don't mind. And I hate
I
to
mean,
bombard.
I ask all I have all night.
I hate to bombard you with all this. Have you been following the board meetings like when you can?
Well, I don't follow it at all. It's a
Okay.
reality TV. It's a reality TV show.
It's a reality. So if you didn't know, did you recall when the board meetings were, at the village once a month? It should be twice a month. And then the
Twice a month.
trustees held a secret board meeting, a special board meeting, not secret, special board meeting over at the Dolton Field
Park
House.
District.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this last board meeting, all they did was, and I'm put on the screen. I was shocked to see the mayor, the super mayor. She had about 3 places to go. She had to go to the village hall. To Thornton Township had a special board meeting. Dolton had a regular board meeting, and then the trustees hung up outside of Village Hall, just a regular piece of tape. They just hung out outside of Village Hall. I went by there, saw it myself. A special board meeting for the trustees immediately after the board meeting. We have been saying for months the trustees are not allowed. The mayor will not come to the board meeting. She's been calling them secret squirrel meetings. She stayed for the special board meeting. None of the agenda new businesses were done because of an interruption during public comment at the special board meeting. However,
What is public comment, by the way? Is that her version of citizens address?
yeah, that's her version of citizen address, which I think should be after the
It should
after
be after the meetings,
yeah, after all the business. But
right?
she stayed, and the board and the trustees were able to put their agenda up, but they had been telling us for months that the mayor would not hear the agenda. Now, I'm not saying that's true or false or whatever happened, but we finally got the mayor and the trustees able to address some of the new business. Even though the trustees put the agenda up on an old letterhead that had former trustee Ed Steve name at the top. That's fine. She listened. It was interrupted. We didn't get any new business done. What do
Mhm.
you think about that? Were we always able to have the meetings together or
No,
no?
no.
So why did she allow it this time?
Again, we're getting close to the election.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people change. You're going to start seeing a lot of changes as well when you get closer to the election. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be surprised if she starts getting citizens to ask questions during the meetings.
Ooh, Lord. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of changes. But typically, how it was supposed to be done in the village of Dalton, how it was done in the past, rather, you had 2 board meetings.
Mm-hmm.
First Monday of the month, third Monday of the month. If it was a holiday on one of those Mondays, then it would fall on that Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember going to the Dalton board meetings when it was at the old Village Hall, which is off Park Street, 140th Street, where the police station is at.
We talked about the carpet the bed bugs eating your ankles going up the steps. We talked about it.
Yeah.
We talked about it in the last video.
And so then you had the business of you had the village business,
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you have any presentations that somebody outside of the community wanted to present on. Like for instance, when Jesse Jackson Jr., when he was a congressman, he wanted to build an airport at Peatone, but wanted the support of the village of Dolton at the time, and so he sent an organization to come there and present how that would be beneficial to the residents of Dolton. So you have presentations like that. And then after that, you have what's known as citizens address. And that's when the citizens go up and they can ask questions, get a response. And that was that. And then after that, it will be an executive session. Because when you were just telling me that, I thought it was talking about an executive session. Because typically, an executive session would be like a closed meeting, a second meeting, but not really a second meeting. It's just a precursor. It's just a after meeting of the original meeting, but it's just in private, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they have the second meeting a week later. And usually the second meeting is, let's say, for instance, the mayor vetoes an ordinance, and the trustees want to override that veto. So then the second meeting, that's when they can go ahead and make that vote to override the veto, or any other new business that they didn't get to in the first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was. That's how it was done in the past. Now, was it done in a transparent way? Yes and no. Yes, in that residents can ask questions, but what I've seen residents in the past, they ask the wrong questions. They don't ask the right questions. Very few people ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, what you're seeing today is none of your questions are getting answered. Whether that's the right questions or the wrong questions, none of your questions are getting answered.
No matter where you turn, none of it is getting township, Dalton, none of us is getting answered, right? Oh man, this is a sad case. Gardis and Big Mike. Question: what do you think? What's our prediction, if we can? If we can do a prediction,
Mhm.
what's your prediction for August board meeting in
Well,
Dalton?
let me, before I ask this, uh, are you guys getting any valuable content of what I'm saying? Am I adding value in any way?
Tremendous.
Of course. Yes, very
Tremendous.
much. I feel like I'm the student here.
I do too. I love to hear, because sometimes you said something just now about Jesse Jackson. Someone called me a liar when I said Jesse Jackson Jr. came to Village Hall. They were like, he ain't never come to Dalton.
Oh,
He
yes,
was
he did.
he was
Oh,
snooping
yes, he did.
around. Yeah, like I was there. I was
Yeah,
there for everything. I was there.
he
Jesse
came to
Jackson.
Dalton. He came to Dalton to present the airport that they were trying to build in Peatone, and he needed the residents of Dalton support because it was going to be on a referendum that Dalton residents will have to answer to say if they really wanted this in Peatone or not, because their tax dollars was going to fund it.
Yep. And Big Mike, the audience is saying, yes, you're connected in value. You adding value to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's the history that people don't know. I think we all need to know what happened then, what's happening now, and what's going to happen. Before I let you go, that building over there, I know you haven't been in Dalton. I took video, I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. The building they're constructing where the old animal hospital was across from the Shell gas station. What do you think?
Animal Hospital. Is that off of Lincoln Avenue in Sibley?
Yeah, right by the
Mm-hmm.
expressway we get on going
Yep.
eastbound. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't happy about it, then a lot of people are.
Mhm.
A lot of people say it's blocking their residency because the building's
Wait,
so tall.
wait. So give me up to speed of what's going on with that. Like, tell me what's going on, and I probably can give you my 2 cents of what I think is happening.
Okay, so what I know, allegedly, the building was the animal hospital, which years ago, this man was just not doing right by the animals, and his
Hmm.
animal hospital got shut down. That's been years. From what I understand, who they are calling is Tiffany Henry's boyfriend purchased that land. The land was sold it's been different people giving reports on the amount, so I don't want to do that. But the people that owned Emporium Liquors in Dolton bought that space. They're gonna make it an entertainment place, dance, fine dining, but it's about 5 stories tall. And it's right there. And by it being 5-story tall, for what I understand, it's blocking like sunlight and natural resources for the residents over there in that little hidden block over there. You know what I'm talking about. The residents feel like their sun is being blocked because you have to remember the building goes up about 5 stories. The animal hospital was like a house. So I could see that. I'm not in
So
their point of view,
so
but they don't.
the question I'll ask is it zoned for that?
I don't, and that's the thing. Is it zoned for that? Is it being built properly? Have they hired people in Dalton to
Well,
work on
well,
it?
it doesn't matter if they hire people in Dalton to work on it as of yet. It has to. If it's not zoned, then it's going to be an illegal building.
Well, I guess it's up there now, so I guess it was zoned, huh?
And
Because it's already
wasn't there some controversy about the
OSHA.
construction company being
Yeah,
being not
it was
certified and
so
yeah.
so this is my thing. Is it evidently gonna be good for Dalton that we got how these people gonna get their business licenses when the other people aren't getting their business license?
Well, so I'm more so of a longevity person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more so of a short term
Mm,
issue. The question is, will they be able to get enough business to be able to pay the taxes that's normally go for a lot of business in the south suburbs like Dalton? Because part of the reason why Dalton has been declining is because businesses have been fleeing, and it has a lot to do with the tax base that's there.
mm,
And um, so, so the issue that I see here is that building zoned for a facility like you just mentioned? And if it's not zoned, then are they in the process of having it zoned? And as residents there, they can always file a complaint or sue the village of Dalton. Would be another lawsuit in the village of Dalton's hands, but they could sue the village of Dalton, you know, challenging whether it's been zoned or not, because then there would be an illegal building. And then the
mm.
second thing is, as far as business license, mayors in the past have been very lenient towards organizations or companies that have done things like buy from a colleague that is associated with the mayor, or that have donated several amounts of campaign funds to, let's say, the coffers of the mayor and his allies, and they may make it very easy on them to get their business license.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I've seen this under Don Hart when he was mayor in the 1990s. I've seen that under Bill Shaw. I've seen that under Ronnie Lewis, Riley Rogers, and this could be happening under Tiffany Hayden.
Mm,
So, but again, when I see businesses, these same businesses leave, it's due to the fact that another administration gets in, so they're not as lenient as the previous administration that was. And that's because the new administration looks at them as an affiliation of the previous administration, and they're trying to wipe off everything that the previous have done, right?
mhm.
So they may not be as lenient, and they may not get as much tax incentives like they once were getting. So if their revenue has dipped, their business starts to decline, and they don't have enough to pay the taxes, they're going to do what the guy did off of 154th, the Chicago Road did. He packed up and moved his business to Munster, Indiana.
He did. Mm-hmm.
It was a guy that owned a burger joint off of, now it's a liquor store, but it was a burger joint
Yeah.
off of
Right by
154th in
the
Chicago.
apartments. Right by the
Yeah.
apartments. Yeah.
There was also a Dairy Queen over there
Well,
too.
yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
It used to be White Hen Pantry. Mr. Rinky's owned that at
Oh
one time.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before I let y'all go, Dalton firefighter contract. It was 5
Yes.
years they're complaining about. That was
Mhm.
during Riley. Now they're going with Tiffany, but they endorse Tiffany. What is the
Which is,
outcome that y'all think? What's going on? I'm confused.
I asked that question to a guy that works for the fire department at the time. I asked him why are you endorsing Tiffany? It's because they couldn't get along with Riley. And I always said, and I told this guy, I said, grass is not greener on the other side, because I know I worked with both of them, and I don't like Riley either. So I mean, I did tell this guy to vote his conscience, and I guess his conscience and his support was with Tiffany. But um, I think they're taking, and no, and again, I'm not trying to put shade on anybody,
No, we're just talking over here. Yeah.
but I think they're taking uh, not advantage. Advantage would be the wrong word, but I think they're using a lot of the publicity that's going on with the negative
Mm-hmm.
management of the city to their advantage to get a higher bargaining deal with with the village.
Exactly. And I
Who's
know
in
this.
charge of that? Oh, I'm sorry, Gardis. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I remember you had this the discussion earlier in one of your lives, your live earlier, and somebody corrected me on, firefighters in Illinois can't strike, because I was thinking like, why haven't they struck yet? And somebody said that in Illinois it's against the law. So I was like, well, there may be a possibility that they might have to dissolve the department, because those firefighters are not, how long are they going to be not under contract until another?
Well, I want to make this clear.
Okay.
Under contract doesn't mean you're not getting paid.
No, yeah, and I understand that.
I'm talking about to the audience. A lot of people in the audience.
Oh, okay,
that.
all right.
They still getting paid? Because I thought they weren't getting paid when they said they had no contract. Nothing. So that means they're still getting paid.
No, they're still getting paid. They're still getting paid.
Okay.
But when you have when you're in a union, you have a collective bargaining agreement. There's certain protections and rights that employees have under these bargaining agreements. So right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Big Mike, they're kind of like an at-will type of worker now.
Yeah. So basically, they don't have anything like Gardis mentioned. They don't have a lot of people think when you're bargaining for just finances, but no, it could be for a clause that is not an at-will clause, but more so of a contract bartering system, if you will.
Yeah.
It's not always about funds, but the media like to say that it's about funds because they want to show to the public that this is another financial problem or devastation to the village. But a lot of times when these firefighters or police, when they strike, it's not always about the money. It's about other things like work conditions, paid time off, or the making it so that they have a difficult time getting fired from their jobs.
Mm-hmm. And probably the biggest thing about the money in that whole situation is not necessarily the salaries, but the pensions, which is included in the contract as well.
And we all know that the state of Illinois right now is that they have over $100 billion of pension liabilities. The city of Chicago has over $40 billion of pension liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So can I ask a question? I know it sounds dumb, but when will they be able to go to the table with negotiations possibly? Can we even estimate? Or is it
probably when a new mayor comes in?
When the new mayor comes in?
Because they're going to probably sit out like they did with Riley, because they know Riley's time was coming up, and they endorsed his opponent because they had the same issue with Riley, and they're going to wait until the new person comes in, and they're going to negotiate on their terms. See, it could. So a lot of this, and again, to give Tiffany the benefit of the doubt here, it could be that she did negotiate with them, but they didn't like the outcome of the negotiation. A lot of times people like to say, well, it's the politician's fault when things like that fall through. But oftentimes it's not the politician's fault. It's the union's fault, because the union may want something that they may not be in the budget for the city or the village to pay on behalf of police and firefighters, but they may come up with a compromise, but the union doesn't. So, and this goes into the power of how unions can actually influence elections. Because what tends to happen, and you've seen this in Chicago with CPS, they basically got their guy Brandon Johnson to run for mayor, and he was a school teacher,
Chicago Teachers Union.
Yeah, Chicago CPS, Chicago Teachers Union. Yeah,
yeah,
and they
CPS
ended up
another entity.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, CTU. That's what I meant. CTU, Chicago Teachers Union. They got their guy to run because they couldn't get along. They couldn't get along with Lightfoot, and they damn sure couldn't get along with Rahm Emanuel. In fact, Richard Daley said, "Whatever you do not piss off the teachers." Rahm went in there and did the exact opposite, and now you just had a lot of issues trickling down from the mayor's office, and now you're seeing all of this publicity with Tiffany, and this bad publicity. And these people think, and I won't say these people, but the firefighters, they're just using it to their advantage. Again, I don't know if what they're doing is right. I don't know if what they're doing is wrong. I'm just telling you, it's a political tactic. They're playing chess.
Yep, that's very, very much true.
So to see the firefighters walk in our opinion, this is like we're just saying on our opinion, they're still getting paid. The money is not going to they said the money wasn't going to their retirement. Who makes that alert to them? Like to tell them the money is not going to their retirement?
Well, they could always. So when you pay your dues, when you pay not union dues, but when you have certain money going into a retirement fund, I mean, it can easily be notified. It can easily be noticed when they come and they like tell you that they can send reminders saying that, hey, we never got the funds for your retirement account. I mean, that was the same thing that you saw with I felt bad for Pat Quinn, but that's what you saw on Deja because yeah, I feel bad for Pat Quinn. I don't mean to take this into a state issue, but I have to say the state issue because it's exactly what you're seeing in Dolton on a smaller scale. And that when people find out that their money wasn't going into the pension fund because in 1989 under James Thompson, when he was the governor of Illinois, he started borrowing from the pension fund to pay back previous debt. And then every other governor from James Thompson to Jim Eggert to George Ryan to Robert Goyevich to Pat Quinn, it actually blew up in Pat Quinn's lap. They've been borrowing from the pension fund. And now you have this tremendous debt where people are going to collect, but they realize the money isn't there.
Yep.
And so there's a constitutional amendment. There's a constitutional amendment that says that you cannot take pensions away from people that have paid into the fund. A pension in a man is a promise. And the courts have already ruled on that because Governor Bruce Browner was trying to cut the amount of money we spent on pensions to these retirees, but it didn't work.
Here we are. Y'all, I enjoy y'all. Big Mike and Gardis, I'm gonna send you an email so we can join together again soon.
I don't know. I sometimes I feel like I'm not as valuable. I don't provide a lot of impactful information, valuable information.
Are you kidding me? They love you, and I'm
gonna tell you this. I'm typically, and I'm not saying this as being egotistical, but I'm typically a very smart person. But I'm the student in that.
Big Mike, you and Gardis are the most requested people on my channel repeatedly. When they were worried about you, is Big Mike coming back? Is Gardis coming back? I'm like, what about me? I'm here. I feel like Effie from Dreamgirls. What about me? I appreciate y'all. And you do give valuable information. You guys, just so you know, they did not ask me to do this. Y'all know where the links are. If you send a link and you put the name in it, I'll slide it over to them. Full transparency over here. I will release the ledger. if you send them anything. And I appreciate you, Big Mike, and I appreciate you, Gardis. And I hope to do this again soon. I got so many questions and I wrote so much down. I definitely want to do some things on like Marion Stamps, Fannie Lou, so many people I want to talk about. So
Wait.
You mean
You
Fannie
didn't
Lou
know about
Hamer?
Marion?
I want to know about Marion Stamps, Fannie Lou Hamer. We got to talk about this history. Black August is coming too. We got to talk about all this.
Wait, you didn't know about Marion Stamps?
I did not. But I'm reading about her and she reminds me of a dear, love person I love. She's a poet. And when I'm reading about Marion Stamps, it kind of put me in the mind of this poet I know. And I'm not going to put her out there to embarrass her, but she reminds me of her. I did not know about Marion Stamps. And I have family from the Harold Ickeys. I have family from the Robert Taylor. So I didn't know about her. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. I'll talk about this another time. But I want to bring up one day on your platform the plan for transformation and how does it relate to suburbs like Dalton and South Holland, and because it was a time when Dalton was a dry suburb where you saw no liquor stores, and that all changed under Shaw. But the plan for transformation was a plan that the CHA, the city of Chicago had to do to win back to CHA from the Department of Housing and Urban Development when they took over HUD back in 1995. Actually, it started in 1992 when this young man by the name of Dantrell Davis got shot and killed when he was holding his mother's hand while walking to school. So, and that's the murder that actually calls for the project to get torn down. Dantrell Davis case.
Yeah,
I
remember
remember that.
Yep, I remember
Oh
that.
my God, how we forget? Oh, I remember that. Okay,
That's what, because what happened is after that is there was this aggressive campaign nationwide where they were actually trying to figure out, okay, the tall high rises wasn't working. What is the best plan to move forward to make it so that it's safer for everybody that lives in these housing developments? So they started with Pruitt Igoe, which is a tall high rise project in St. Louis. And they tore that down and they gave people vouchers to move out. So St. Louis was more so like a guinea pig. And so then City of Chicago adopted the same thing that St. Louis adopted, which is the plan for transformation, where they were going to do exactly the same thing, but they did it to win back CHA over from HUD, because HUD took it over. And so then that's when you start seeing the tearing down of the housing projects and the vouchers of people from that used to live there into places like Kankakee, places like Dalton, Harvey. I've gone down the list.
these people are it's so many things that's forgotten. There's so many things that's forgotten.
I know this young man's. I'm sorry, I mean to. I know this young man's mother, Annette Freeman. That's his mother. His mother's name is Annette Freeman.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons why Robert Shaw was not elected into South Holland. Because
the liquor stores, right?
one of the things we was afraid of that he was going to bring liquor stores into South Holland.
Mm-hmm. That was the biggest campaign about South Holland. They were like, "You're not gonna bring no liquor stores here." That's what we heard, because I think I told you, Gardis, we went door to door because I was working for Mayor Shaw's brother at the time, and we were sent out there on the weekends to go out there door to door. And that was what the general, y'all ain't gonna bring no liquor stores over here. They didn't say anything else but that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the campaign slogan against Shaw during that time.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep.
But you know why they were bringing in the liquor stores, right? It wasn't even because they wanted to flood the city with liquor. It's because they were getting these campaign kickbacks from these liquor store owners to actually open their business there. It was an open market.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, because
So
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that you see there's a daycare off of Sibley across the street from where this car shop called Maryland's is that.
Big We're
Sibley.
talking about the same thing. That's what I was gonna say. Continue.
Yeah,
Please
so
educate them.
so that used to be a family kitchen joint. That's a daycare now, but that used to be a family kitchen joint, and then that turned into a liquor store. But that was mainly due to the fact that the owner there had had um, had given Shaw at the time a political contribution. Bill Shaw.
Now, what I want to, I agree. However, do you remember? Do you when you pass by that place, you see that fence that separates the liquor store?
You said
They
what now?
It's a fence where you're talking about is a daycare on one side and a liquor store on the other side. They used to be family kitchen, right?
Right,
They
that's what I meant.
Yeah, they said that one side of the fence was Dalton and one side was South Holland. Is that true? That's how they.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true.
Okay, you gave me some new insight because I didn't know about the political thing, but it was a big thing. Like, how
Yeah.
you gonna put a liquor store by a high school and a daycare? And they were like, "Well, this is Dalton and this is South Holland. They got away with it, the zoning."
The video gambling that you see off of Cottage Grove and Sibley, there used to be a Philly Steak Express joint, a restaurant right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's now a video gaming store. They've
Mm,
actually they actually gave political kickbacks to Riley.
mm.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. Somebody told me, and maybe you might want to correct me on this. Somebody told me Riley owned that place.
Probably does, but I know
Okay.
he owns. I know he probably does. Um, but I know he owns Warmo's Barbecue off of Woodlawn and Sibley. That's
Hmm.
his restaurant.
Wow, this is interesting. When we get into the ins and out of Dalton, for it to just be 20,000 people, 4 miles. You could do four sharp lefts to end up in the same place. All this fight, all this situation, and we just need to be more educated. That's the whole purpose of my platform. That we listen to all sides of the story, we become educated, and we make our own decisions based on that. I don't think it should be a group of people tell us who to vote for and we go for it again. I think we need to make an educated decision at this point.
Yeah, agreed. But then again, it hurts when you see the right people. The best people would never run for office.
Nope. I know somebody I would love to run, and I know she has been through it, school board and this and that, but I would love for her to be mayor. She's qualified, and I know she don't want to deal with the mess. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's where we are with it.
Yeah, and that's the
Did she lose
problem.
her husband?
Huh? Yeah, she
Did
lost her
she?
husband, and he has a
I was
street.
actually.
He has a street named after him.
Yeah, I was at her husband's funeral.
I wasn't there, but I love her, and I don't even have a personal relationship with her. I could be the reason I love her, and I'll speak on it. I'll tell it. The reason I love Felita Creighton is you could be a stranger on the street, walk up to her, and she's gonna help you. I don't even know her. She's gonna help you, and that's what it is. She's about the youth, and I just think maybe she's probably just not gonna do it. But it would have been cool to have her in the running. But it's a popularity contest, and I don't want to take her through that. But I think she would have been an excellent mayor of Dalton just for one term, if anything.
Well, well, I will say this. I was getting ready to run with her husband when her husband was getting ready to run for trustee, or not trustee, mayor.
Oh, mayor.
We were actually coming up with a plan, and this
Hmm.
is before Tiffany actually became national, before he actually got sick. We were coming up with a plan when he was going to run for mayor, and I was going to
Oh,
be on his ticket.
I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
I was gonna be on his ticket, and I was gonna run for trustee. I said the only way I was gonna agree to run is if I'm not the head guy on the ticket, but I'm like the second guy, and
Hmm.
I do the back office in terms of the strategizing. I do the strategy. I come up with the strategy, come up with the political political agenda in terms of vision. And you be the head guy, and since you're older and you been in the community longer, people know you, so you be the face. I'll be the guy in the back handling the strategy. And we would have worked together as a team, but then he ended up getting sick, and that plan since derailed.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry to hear that. Good guys just don't. It seem like they don't win over here. So that's why we're gonna have to put in place the best man wins now, because, like you said, the good people who we do know, they're not gonna put up with this. I mean, look at what's going on. It's a lot
Wait,
of
wait,
that.
wait. We do have somebody good that can run for mayor and be the change that could revolutionize this entire township. You know who that person is?
Who?
Stan Brown.
You said that before. You know what? I have to look at Stan Brown. I don't know. Stan Brown, he quit over cutting grass. He gonna be a mayor. He quit because the grass cutting was getting too stressful for him. Stan Brown is like, I'm tired of this, in my opinion. What you think?
You know,
He ran before and didn't win.
well, he almost won. I'm not now that I know that's shocking to a lot of people, but to your audience, yes, he almost won. He almost beat Riley when Riley ran for a second term. He almost beat him. If,
Wow.
if Dwayne Muhammad had not gotten the race,
Oh Lord.
Stan would have won that race. Stan would have been the mayor.
Where is Dwayne Muhammad? Why we don't where did he go? Where did Dwayne go? He just left after the Dolton pool parties. I ain't seen him since.
I saw some snippets of videos of Pearson, trustee Robert Pearson, showing up at those meetings.
Oh yeah, he's out there. He's out there. He is out there. It's a couple of the former trustees. I just be like, where y'all at? A lot of them just run, So because I'll hold y'all forever. Any final thoughts? Gardis, go first.
Well, I wanted to ask this because I know a lot of it was focused on Dolton. So the township, we kind of already know one guy who possibly might be running, and that's Napoleon Harris. Possibly. Is he going to run unopposed?
No, absolutely not. He's going to have somebody that's going to run.
Well, I mean, he'll at least have Tiffany. I think Tiffany, if she survives until the next election, because I think she's going to run again.
I'm gonna take it to the extreme. I don't even think she's going to run.
Interesting.
I don't even think she's going to run. Now, for the mayor of Dolton, it may be different, but I don't think she's going to run because I don't think she can have the money to finance a campaign on the township level. If you're having all these issues with people that that's trying to separate themselves from you politically, their donors are going to leave with them. Now she may get lucky and find a couple of donors here and there. Like the Delgado group, they've donated I think $14,000 to her mayoral campaign. They may donate but see, they're donating because I don't think it's because they believe in her agenda. They're donating to keep their jobs.
Yeah, they want a job.
So, but I'm talking about like some powerhouse donors, like people that can write big checks. And then think about the issue. And one thing you need to know is that Napoleon Harris has the pockets to run a township level campaign. I mean, he has Springfield and he has his own money. And you could think of it as a JB Prisker running on a local level or a township level, really. Because Prisker funded his own campaign, $171 million of his own money in that race.
Well, obviously he's a billionaire, so.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one. I mean, I got a whole slate. I have a whole story on that one. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I know. But so I guess Napoleon's going to be unopposed.
I don't think he's going to be unopposed. No, I think he's going to have opponents. because you always gonna have somebody that think that I mean they're an optimist. They think that they can that somehow the tables will turn and they may get elected. It was like that in '93 when Frank ran and he ran against this guy named Frederick Riddle. And Frederick knew he wasn't gonna win against Frank. He knew that. But he
Mhm.
ran anyway, because he said well, he thought well, maybe that 1% can make a difference in the election, and it ultimately didn't. But the fact of the matter is, he had the mindset of, yeah, I'm going to run because I just might win, and that's the mindset of a lot of people. Some people may just run simply because they want the publicity for another race or another office that they really truly want. I'll give you an example of that. Dots.
Yep. Well,
Dots ran for a lot of positions, and
Yeah.
I don't want to say his name, but you get what I'm saying. I'm gonna go just leave it at Dots.
Mhm.
He ran for a lot of positions in the past, and he was successful in becoming trustee of Dixmoor. But after that, yeah, let's just leave it at that.
yeah, I know.
Lord,
But
Lord.
other than that, no, this was a great conversation for me.
Me too. I appreciate y'all being brave enough to come over here. I know it's a lot. And I thank you so much because I enjoy these conversations because you enlighten me as well when I'm talking about what may be happening in the Southland that I'm only talking my experience. And if you can bring some facts to it, that helps. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime. Sometimes I mean, like I said, I don't mean to be missing in action, but I stay in the comments because I just want other people to, be able to get on stage and just want to hear their point of view, and maybe they will say something that I never thought of. That's why I don't normally come on the stage. It's because I like to listen before I give my 2 cents.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, same here. That's why I've been listening most of the time.
Oh, someone has a question for Big Mike. How would Big Mike and his partners plan to have dealt with the trustees advisory board? What do you think about that? The trustees now have an advisory board to the trustees in Dalton. What do you think about that? That's a good question. Thank you, Scott.
Well, to be honest, I haven't been following this thing recently. I'm just being honest with them. Um, I have to really learn more about that the advisory board thing. Um, to be honest, I haven't been really following Dolton politics recently due to
Understood.
the reality TV show that you're seeing going on. See, when I used to follow it, it was about village business and it was about impacting people that live there. Now it's all about views. People, YouTubers are not even interested. I'm not gonna say all of them, but some of them, they're not even interested in how this is impacting voters. Instead, they're interested in how many views they can get based on chaos. And so I just don't even follow it like I used to. But to answer Scott's point, I used to be at the board meetings all the time, and I used to know what's going on inside and out. But these days, I just haven't been involved, and maybe it's a test. Maybe it's something that I need to get involved in so I can better answer this question. Because I feel bad even giving this answer to him. He may be a concerned voter. I don't know if he's a voter in Dalton, but he may be a concerned voter and wants to know more about what's going on. And I feel bad because I don't have the answer for him. But I always say that I will do my research and get back to whoever asks the question. So the next time I see them, I will have an answer, and it will be a legitimate answer, not a politically BS answer.
We love that. Thank you so much. That's good. So I hope that answered your question, Scott. So we're gonna give Big Mike a chance to catch up because it has been a reality show. But yes, just to answer Scott's question as well, the trustees have an advisory committee board, and it's the advisory committee to the trustees. I believe Mary Avon is the leader of the advisory committee of the trustees. We did not
What's
vote
his
for.
purpose? What's his purpose? What's the whole entire purpose of having that? Like, is it to raise money? Is it to like what is the purpose of it?
Allegedly, legend has it, the advisory committee to the trustees are the ones that brought Lori Lightfoot to the forefront for the trustees. But basically, they advise the trustees on what to do. But I think the problem for a lot of Dolton voters is we voted for the trustees. Why is it an advisory committee to the Dolton trustees over the trustees?
Rightfully so. And to me, you want to be careful that you don't want to add too much
Oh, wait,
regulation
you're
on top
breaking
of
up
it.
tonight. You breaking up. It's a win. It's win.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
You don't want to add too much government on top of government.
Yeah, we don't even know if that's considered government because it's just a group of people that came together allegedly. And I'll tell you what they said off the air, the people that told me that that's the advisory board, but they came together and now they're the advisory council to the trustees of Dolton.
So in other words, they're the trustees of the village of Dalton. They're the ones making decisions.
That's it.
Yep, exactly.
So when I see it's a
Sounds to me that they're trying to be trustees without getting elected.
it's a Facebook page and everything. Advisory committee to the Dolton trustees. I'm trying to see when that was passed.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. That's the first. I never heard that before.
I think they need another title. I think it's not fair that we vote the trustees in and then they have an advisory committee after we vote them in and we don't know who the advisory committee is. That's
I mean,
weird.
at least they could title themselves as community consultants
Exactly. I
or
agree.
like a community strategist. But like when you say advisory board, and that as a voter, that makes it seem as well. I didn't vote for you to be an advisory board or be on an advisory board, and basically you're creating a board that has little to no regulation in terms of voters holding you accountable for bad advice.
Yeah, and I think this is the chance for certain people to take advantage to subvert the democracy of it because of we've been talking about it all night. The politically ignorant collective. I mean, we're just not politically educated on this, and people think this is okay.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not opinionated about a lot of things, but I do think it's weird that the elected officials would allow publicly a Facebook page, Instagram page, all that, the advisory board to the Dolton trustees. I've never seen that happen.
Well, from a political standpoint, these people that's probably on the advisory board are probably prepping themselves to run for trustee.
Oh, okay.
So it could be that. So they want to try to get connected as much as possible, and so that they can run for that seat. I mean, it could be that, or it could be the fact that they're trying to get into the administrative roles in Dalton when the new mayor comes in. Who knows? Like they may want to become, like, let's say, director of housing or village administrator, something to that effect.
Oh, that's definitely what's going to happen. As soon as those people get out, those same people we've been seeing at the board meetings at the microphone, they're going to have all those jobs they've been yelling about, in my opinion. They're going to get every one of those jobs.
And then the advisory board will be dissolved.
But I appreciate y'all. I love that question, Scott, because I really feel some kind of way about it being. I'm like, how do we vote people in for trustees, and then they just form an advisory board to the trustees without letting anybody know? And that's the main group that you guys see at the board meetings. It's the advisory board of the trustees. If you knew or not.
Yeah, that was. I just learned something today. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. You can look it up, y'all. I'm not kidding. The advisory board to the trustees, big yellow sign. I covered it on my YouTube channel at one point when we did that rally, and I was so confused when I saw the title, the committee advisory board to the Dolton trustees. I'm like, wait, the Dolton trustees need an advisory board. Why we vote them in? They need advice.
Again, I think that was a bad title picking on their part. They should have put like consultant or community consultant or at least a community strategist.
Yeah, the advisory board. Woo, that took me for a loop. That means y'all have to ask them. Yeah.
It took me for a loop too. I was like, what the? I do that. I thought like, that caught me off guard. Really, it did.
I'll let you do your research, and Scott, we can come back to that question at the next time we meet, because that is, I forgot all about that. Yeah, the advisory board to the trustees. We can't vote for them. They're just the advisory board. Dalton, wake up, Dalton. Y'all just allowing anything.
Dalton is having a nightmare. Wake up.
Wake up. Like we just throwing people in there. That's gonna be the advisory to the advisory of the advisory board to the trustees.
Oh God.
I appreciate y'all. I know it's late. I love you guys, and I'll send you an email.
All righty.
Anything?
Take care.
Final thoughts. Anything y'all want to say? You and get off your chest.
Did you guys find this impactful?
Yes.
Just asking.
Yes.
And you guys leave a comment for Big Mike. He feel like he's not impactful.
Exactly. Please leave a comment for Big Mike.
Because without him, man, we've been out here asking you questions for 3 hours. Big Mike, you're impactful. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Oh, wait, someone sent the link. Oh, Lord, Chu sent the link. If you guys go to that link, Chu said, look at this link, and that'll show how the advisory board asked. And I'm going to make sure I leave the comment section open. I'm going to have to edit. So I'm going to have to private for a little bit just to edit, just so y'all know. And I'll see y'all soon.
All righty.
All right, good night. Good night, Big Mike. Good night, Gardis.
Good night.
Take care.
You too. Bye. Wait a minute, how cool was that? Big Mike called back in. He's asking if he's impactful. I need Big Mike to accept our compliments. This was a great conversation. Thank you, Dawn. Yay. Cynthia said, yay. Big Mike. We gotta play that. Jazzy Steph said, Mike, you make us feel connected.
That I have felt the most connected and valued.
Big Mike and Gardis was such a major part of my life. Y'all, my salmon is still in the oven, the air fryer, because I was cooking dinner. I was making me some salmon, zucchini, hot peppers, and squash in the oven, like, as I do. And y'all, it's cold now. Dinner over, because this conversation was very impactful, very enlightening. I thank you so much. I think it's so important that we hear everybody's opinions. I don't know why people get so upset when I say that. Past, present, and future. It's things people say I might not agree with 100%, but I can listen and I can see their point of view. That's why God gave us one mouth and 2 ears. Sit there and listen. And a lot of times you're not going to get results when you sit there and scream at somebody your points. You have to talk to them. You have to see their point of view. So tomorrow I had a lot of videos. I'm going to have to do the videos later. I want to say thank you. All the links. Gardis said, Big Mike is our resident political expert. I want to tell you all the links to connect with your girl Burgundy Blue Commentary is in the chat. But however, if you saw something that Big Mike or Gardis did for you today, I appreciate Gardis be knowing Watts coming up here. Big Mike from the D, we love you. Put their name. If you send me something, just say this is for Big Mike. Full transparency over here. I will screenshot my ledger and send it to them so they know. I appreciate everybody that came across. It's not easy to stick with someone that's not in the popular situation. Right now, you're over here at Burgundy Blue Commentary. I'm living here, but I'm not in a popular situation. I remember a clear quote from a trustee of Dolton. She said, "Who's coming to save us?" I got to answer now, going through what I'm going through. Nobody. You got to fight. All right, you guys. As always, you make sure you take care of yourself and each other. Bye. I love you guys.
Commentary Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Comment Blue Commentary Comment Burgundy Blue Commentary Blue Commentary